So high I'm hypnotized. What's up is down, what's left is right. Chasing stars and holding you. I can't see the end, but we'll see it through. Times don't fly too high. Be sure to keep the ground in sight. Fly forever if you keep it tight. Love the world but keep the sky on your mind.
dreams. I push a mind to a limit where it needs to feed. I work blind, got vision I don't need to see. I'm picking mind over matter, I believe in me. I need to find more hours in the day to breathe. Need to find more power in the way I be. And when my mind turns sour with the painful scenes, I need to scream out loud, I can't stop me. I wanna be the greatest like Rocky. You know I leave them all hating like a hobby. I'm out here making moves like a lobby. And if you ain't with me, it's your loss. See, I got my mind on the facts, I'm a python. Grab what I like real fast, choke until I have everything. I attack everything that I lack, everything that I want, and I see matter of fact. Cause I'm my own worst enemy. Only if I let it be. I can control anything if I can just think carefully. I control my destiny. Deep up in my mind I manifest it. Every morning I wake up obsessed, and everything I do the best. And deep within my mind you know
Hello and welcome to My Mind Over Your Matter. My name is Rick, and let's get this show started. Woo! What a day, busy day, man. I had a medical appointment today, and I got a lot of studies to do, a lot of doctors to see. I'm already overwhelmed. I'm exhausted because I had a pretty busy day, but let's not hesitate anymore and just bring in without listen. With over 127,000 subscribers, over 1,200 videos, is the one, the only Tyson DeLacruz.
Wow. What's up, man? What's cracking, homie?
What's going on, man?
I love the intro, man. I felt like Seth Rollins right now, bro.
I know, right? I was gonna hit the music like
Man, oh man. Yeah, that was good, man. Dude, I love what you're doing with AI. Shout out to everybody in the chat, by the way. And thank you so much for hosting this again.
No, you're welcome, and there'll be more people that are coming. It's just a little slow trickle, but hey, Albie, how you doing?
What's up?
Albie's
What's up?
But yeah, man, what's going on?
Oh, bro, you know what? Honestly, man, I'm trying to get my sleep schedule right.
Okay.
I just been staying up later, working and all this other stuff.
Mhm.
And yeah, I just been going to bed later. And last night I got caught up on an Allen Iverson documentary. I had it on while I was working, and I was like, yo, this is really good. I'm a fan of the early 90s, or I'm gonna say mid 90s up to 2000s basketball and sports just in general. And Allen Iverson was up there, and it was just really cool to see his backstory. And,
yeah,
yeah,
he was a good shooter. I'm not gonna lie. I mean,
he was, man. Yeah,
for a point guard, he was very small, but man, he was very energetic and he was a big difference maker for the 76ers.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah,
it's
man.
sad that he didn't win a championship, but
yeah, that was the thing, because I think there's 3 or 4 episodes. It's just a small docuseries. I knew he had a criminal past and stuff like that, but they kind of delve into that a little bit, which I really enjoyed. And then, with the championship thing, because on another documentary that I watched with the Lakers, the 76ers were a hot team, and then they just swept them in the championship.
Yep.
So
yeah, it was that. I saw that one
because it was the Lakers' dream team, man. You had Shaq, you had
Shaq,
Kobe.
Yeah,
man, it was
Fisher.
Fish. Yep.
You got what's the other one? What's his name?
There was another shooter. There was Fisher, and then there was a dude that was with Eva Longoria. I can't remember his name.
I forget his name. He has kind of not curly, but kind of I know you're talking about. I see his face. I don't remember his name.
Rick Fox.
Yeah, there you go.
So yeah, it was cool, man. And then dude, that Lakers team was heat, man. They were fire, man. People always talk about LeBron. I think LeBron's
garbage.
Man.
I think LeBron's garbage. You know why? Okay, where I lost LeBron and I lost all accountability for LeBron is when he gave up on Game 7 with the Miami Heat.
Yeah,
because he knew he was going to Los Angeles. He wasn't going to stay with the Heat, and he did not win the Heat the championship. He just gave up on the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
and
yeah, man, that's there's no comparison, man. MJ, I think brought a lot of visibility to the sport. Larry Bird, those people, Kobe, Magic, these are people that really brought visibility to the sport, not LeBron. LeBron, yeah, he came out of high school, he was hot, for a couple seasons, but then, yeah, Dr. J, man,
I could go on and on, Ewing. Oh my God, I remember
Patrick Ewing, bro. He was the first kind of Shaq
Yeah, he was.
you know?
Yeah, and then Starks was kind of like he was kind of like a BJ Armstrong. He was kind of
Mhm.
like,
You remember Muggsy Bogues? Muggsy Bogues,
yep,
dude, on the Hornets.
yep, with Alonzo.
I had this book that I always re-rented from the library, and it was caricatures. So like, you know how they do at the pier and stuff like that of the basketball players, and it showed like their brief history. And I love that book, man. But that's when I enjoyed watching sports. Then like in the early 2000s, like all this, I'm gonna say not even like 2010, 2009 is really where it kind of started. Like political stuff was just brought into the sports sector, and it just ruined it for me, man. You know, like because I want to watch sports, you know, at that time.
I think what ruined sports, gambling.
Gambling too, yeah. Yeah.
I think that was the kill of all sports, was when they started gambling, because you gotta understand, these players, they have friends and they got people who they can get in contact with, and say, like, give it to a friend or a friend of a friend, and okay, bet like $10,000 on this, or bet $100,000, and we'll split it, and I'll just pretend that I got an ankle injury and I'll leave on the fourth quarter.
Yeah. Man, you got me reminiscing now, because I remember like in the early 90s, man, I used to love like watching boxing and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Like what I loved watching, you know, there was so much anticipation in regards of a Mike Tyson fight. Although we knew he was going to get, the dude was going to get knocked out. Whoever who was boxing against was going to get knocked out. But like the anticipation up to that, and then Mike Tyson would just like dip, knock him out, 6 seconds, 8 seconds. You know, it was wild.
I felt the same way, that energy, with Sugar Ray Leonard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you knew he was going to get you and he was going to mess you up.
Yep. Yep.
And he was quick with his hands.
Yeah. You know, with Tyson, man, they always talk about him as a power puncher, but he was also like a very good defensive boxer as well. Like he knew how to dodge and dip and all this other stuff. As well as a very powerful puncher, man.
Yeah, super powerful puncher. But I got a video for us to watch.
Yep.
It's he's not the greatest puncher in the world, I don't believe, but he has a great show and his liberal hive mind. And I want to show this one for all to watch. So without further ado, let's go ahead and watch some liberal hive mind. Got to get it set up here. Here we go.
Ads clips everywhere. I've been seeing it really for the last couple of months as this entire election has been going on. You'll have moments like this on CNN.
When you put in communist and yes, communist policies, that's what Zoran Mamdani is talking about.
He's not a communist.
It never works.
Socialist. He says he's democratic.
I can't tell what the difference is.
Well, he can
explain what the difference is.
He can describe the differences for you. The socialism is not the same basis of communism in this country. You know that quite well.
The man wants to create government-run grocery stores. He wants free transportation, both of which are impossible to do. Because how is
communism is a trigger word to try to undermine all of his policies. He's not he says he's.
I don't need to undermine his policies. His policies undermine himself.
Well,
because they've never worked.
We got Byron Donalds, who claims that Zoran Mamdani is a communist. And then in comes the semantic argument, oh, he's not a communist, he's a Democrat socialist. But to me, honestly, it's tomato. And even if you grant their distinction, let's say that communism is total state ownership, the abolishment of private ownership, versus, let's say, quasi-communism, right? That's socialism or democratic socialism, where you have a semblance of free market, but it's essentially under heavy state control, and many industries are completely dominated and controlled by government. At the end of the day, the core rot still remains. There's still the same problems. And the issue isn't the label. It's not the semantic arguments between the difference in worldview. No, the problem is the idea at the core. When you hand over the keys of an entire economy to one political committee, to one political organization, one government, you replace millions of independent decisions that are being made across an entire market. You know, I guess let's say it takes a village to raise a child, and you hand over the keys to one centralized brain. The idea that that system is ever going to produce better results is insane. It never does. Central planning sounds great. Well, honestly, it doesn't even sound great on paper, but to some people it does. The government's gonna give me everything. Oh, I'll never have to lift a finger. It sounds great if you're lazy and unproductive, but it's almost always a recipe for disaster in so many aspects. And not only does it always fail to deliver proper results and quality products, but it's also a path towards dictatorship. You're basically handing over the keys to the castle. And while the left might be making the argument that Zoran's not a communist, well, he essentially is, and honestly, he's the closest thing you're going to get in current day American politics. And there is a red flashing warning sign right now. The alarm bells should be going off. And let me show you guys what's causing that, at least for me. In terms of ideas, in terms of platform, and in terms of rhetoric, this guy is the absolute biggest red flag in American politics. Let me show you guys what's going on. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so as if the initial red flags during the campaign weren't enough, you know, Zoran talking about seizing the means of production, as if that wasn't enough of a bright red communist flag, well, he takes it to a whole other level with this one. Take a look at this moment from Zoran Mamdani's victory speech.
We will prove that there is no problem too large for government to solve and no concern too small for it to care about.
Holy freaking moly. He says there's no problem too big for government to solve and no concern too small for it to care about. Those are the scariest words in the English language. It's basically a rephrasing of exactly what Ronald Reagan warned you about.
The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
Now, you can't say that you weren't warned, but obviously this is the worldview. Central planning, massive government. You don't need to do for yourself, we'll do for you. Oh, does it sound all good? It makes you all warm and fuzzy inside. Are you struggling to make ends meet? Are you jealous of other people's lifestyles who are doing better than you? Don't worry, just give up and let us do it for you. We promise we'll deliver the results. It sounds great in theory. And of course, every time with these little socialist revolutions, the hype in the early stage is always at an all-time high. And the confidence as well. Zoran Mamdani clearly is signaling here that he's going to make it happen. And of course, his cult followers like Hassan Piker, well, they're signaling a whole lot of confidence as well.
I no longer have to prove that this kind of politics works. I can just point to Zoran.
Hassan Piker doesn't even have to make arguments anymore. No, socialism works. He's just got to point to Zoran. I find it funny that he makes this extremely arrogant and confident claim before Zoran's even had a single day as New York City's mayor. And also, speaking of red flags, this is coming from the person who in the same breath said this.
What do you think it means that this guy ran as a socialist and anti-communism didn't work to stop him? That's big.
Yeah, I think we are in the heart of the imperial core. This is the country that defeated the USSR, unfortunately. And the reality of the matter is there's a lot of antagonism. There's no class consciousness in the United States of America. It's one of the things I try to address every day with my commentary. And I will say this. The conditions have deteriorated so much that everyday Americans, in spite of their lack of class consciousness, are finally arriving at the conclusion that perhaps there is an alternative out there. There is an alternative that focuses on them as opposed to the interests of the billionaires and the millionaires, as opposed to the interests of the capital owners. And I mean, you can't help but notice that. You can't help but feel at least a little bit of excitement around that.
It's apparently unfortunate that America defeated the Soviet Union, the USSR. Then he goes on pushing some class grievance politics. Another massive communist red flag, by the way. But it's Soviet revolution energy in the air, and it's apparently for many people contagious. But it always works the same way. It's always the same pattern, right? When the revolution begins, people are hopeful. They've got a dream, the socialist dream right in front of them. The utopia is a foregone conclusion, but it always ends in disaster. And the arrogance that you have to think that you're going to be the one who gets it done, right? Zoran Mamdani, he's the special little snowflake who's going to undo hundreds of years of history and make big government work. It's a level of arrogance that I think is unmatched. And obviously it's not going to work because it never works. Central planning and concentration of authority always fails, time and time again. No one government can assess or process the constantly changing information that the widespread free market can be on top of. It's simply an issue of logistics. You've got all kinds of different corporate entities. They're all on the ball. They're paying attention to what's going on. And most importantly, they're flexible. A spread of different corporations can react to a dynamic market situation. And sometimes it's only some of them that will. You'll have a couple companies that'll make the right decisions, but you might have some that make the wrong decisions and they end up going under. Well, what happens when you have everything centralized in one government corporation and they make the wrong decision? Utter disaster. Then, of course, who's footing the bill? Taxpayers. It's great. Oh, it's great. It's great. Central planning until it isn't, until it falls apart. Then, of course, you're missing proper incentives. Profit is the ultimate incentive for delivering a good service. In the open free market, if you serve people well, you are rewarded. You grow. But if you don't, you either shrink or collapse. And then somebody who's doing a better job can come in and provide that service. Government monopolies do not die. There's no threat of collapse if they don't deliver a proper service. They get to fail forward, and that warps the whole incentive dynamic. There's no incentive. There's no urgency to actually do things right. There's no incentive to fix what is broken. You know, Mamdani's talking about rent-controlled apartments, government-ran grocery stores, free public transportation for all. Well, if there's no profit incentive, how are you reinvesting? All you're going to do is create ghettos, trashed grocery stores, public transit systems that are falling apart. If there's no money to make it good in the first place, well, then it's just going to crumble and be cruddy. Not to mention there's no incentive for innovation to do things better, more efficiently. And so you can talk all you want, oh, well, it's not communism, it's quasi-communism. It's still the same thing. And all the same red flags are there. Zoran Mamdani is the red flag. And I'd argue Zoran Mamdani is in fact a communist. And well, what can I say other than good luck? Good luck, New York City. You can't say we didn't try. You can't say Ronald Reagan didn't warn you. But look, this is democracy. This is where Democrat politics is headed. You know, at the end of the day, you can't argue with the will of the voters. And this is what New York City voters wanted. Well, have fun with your little social experiment here. Have fun trying to fund all of these programs as you annihilate productivity, scare away investment, and cause mass capital flight out of the state. Good freaking luck. I'm telling you, you're going to need it. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.
Hey, liberal hive mind. I also have a back-to-back because I want to show the hypocrisy by Zohan. So I think it would make a lot more sense, and then we could talk about it, Tyson.
Sounds good, man.
This guy, listen, when you see a snake oil man coming by, you know it's some fucked up shit coming your way. And they never work. So let's go ahead and check this out real quick. Give me 1 second. Here we go.
Well, folks, you've done it again. We can't take any more of your money. Truly, you need to stop. Thanks to you, we've raised the maximum amount of money we can spend in this race, $8 million. And you've done it with more than 2 months to go until the election. So that means we got it in the bag, right? Wrong.
He's on the 10th
Bill
floor.
Ackman's going to sit back and let us walk into City Hall? No. He's going to write a very long tweet and then cut an even bigger check to one of our opponents. So get ready to see a lot more scary videos of this face on your TV. But just like we did in June, this movement can overcome their money in November. So we are once again asking, not for your dollars, but your time. Sign up to Canvas or Phone Bank at ZaranForNYC.com/events. Make it a weekly shift. And above all, do not send us any more money.
There you go. That's Zohan, right? And here's a back-to-back.
Good morning, New York City. Thank you. Last night, we made history. Today, we begin the work of making a new administration. Welcome to the transition. This is the period over the next few months where we build a city hall that delivers on the promises of our campaign, to make New York City affordable and to make government accountable to the people it serves. As we prepare to govern, we'll start announcing the leaders who will help implement our agenda. People like deputy mayors who oversee entire areas of government and the commissioners who carry out the critical work of city agencies. These appointments will be driven by excellence, integrity, and hunger to solve old problems with new solutions. Talking to organizers on the front lines of the fight to improve our city, government veterans with proven track records, policy experts from around the country and the world, and working people who know better than anyone what our neighborhoods deserve. And this will be a period, like the campaign we ran and the city hall to come, defined by transparency. Because New Yorkers deserve a government they can trust. On January 1st, I will be your mayor. New Year's Day and a new era for this city. Oh, and one more thing. Remember how I told you a few months ago to stop sending us money? You can start again. This transition requires staff, research, and an infrastructure that can meet this moment. And it will be made possible by the people who built and believe in this movement. So I hope you'll make a donation at transition2025.com. Now let's get to work.
There you go. Yeah. Okay, Tyson, go ahead.
Yeah, when I that's funny. You know, it's crazy because okay, tax the rich is his thing, free stuff is his thing. He pedaled back on a lot of different stuff. The day of the election or the day voting, excuse me. And then this video comes out. He's like, "Hey, we remember how I told you we didn't need any more money? Well, we need some money. We need your money to fund what I'm thinking about doing." And the other situation is the people that are going to be hurt the most in this situation, just like what we're seeing in other major cities with sanctuary policies mainly, is the collapse of the economy, right? Like this dude is a theater kid. Like he's great. He's very personable, like in front of a camera, but he's a theater kid, right? We're going to see major collapse with this city. The wealthy people are going to leave out of this city. Wealthy businesses are going to leave. The poor people are going to get the quote unquote free stuff. And who's going to get left with the bill? The middle class folks are going to be left with the bill. They're going to be stuck with it because they don't have the ability to move. They don't have the money to move. And then they're going to make too much money to get the quote unquote free stuff. This is it's a horrible plan. Horrible. New York, you guys messed up voting this dude. 100%. I totally
agree. I think I will be going to New York City to see the Christmas tree for the last time. At least I won't be going back to New York City for the next 4 years after January 1st. Yeah. Because I'm not going to spend a dime in New York City. I'll go to upstate New York and I'll go visit the family over in Rochester and stuff and friends and family out there. And I'm cool with that. But New York City, I have no business there. I will not spend another dime after I go on my trip, which will be just for a day to see the Christmas tree and to go up on one of the buildings and take pictures. And that will be it for the next 4 years.
Dude, growing up also, like New York has always been a liberal place, right? And growing up, New York was always like, there's nice places in New York, but then the majority of it was like crapshoot. There is nice places in upstate New York. My aunt used to live in upstate New York, but you know, like the city, crapshoot, right? Most part, right? Housing, unaffordable for, you know, but it's always been like that.
Tyson, but I know the trick to that. You know what's the trick? You kick all of the people out, right? Because they're going to flock down to Florida, right? So about, let's say 30-40% goes down to Florida. You're going to have a lot of available spaces. So those places need people. So we'll make it cheaper. We'll bring in the ones in, and then the leftovers we'll put it out cheaper. So that way, like, we could get the homeless off and we put all the illegal immigrants and the apartments down there.
And this is, you know, this is a good point because, like, at the end of the day, right? Like whoever backed this guy, same thing, whoever backed, you know, most of these politicians just in general, like you don't think that they have a plan that the city is going to collapse ultimately. You know, like they're going to come in just like what happened with like Detroit, for example. You know, Detroit collapsed, people came in, swooped up, and then now it's booming, right?
Yep.
That will be the play for like the mega wealthy, mega rich. I'm going to say mega wealthy individuals that already know that this fool is going to destroy New York City.
Mm-hmm.
And in the back of their mind, they're like, okay, we're going to back this dude, back his stuff, back his policies. All this stuff's going to collapse. And then we're going to swoop in. And
But this is my problem, right? My problem is that, okay, all the people are going to leave New York, right? Let's say 30%. 30%. Okay. So that's 30% of vacancy. Okay. So those people in New York are going to figure out to get these apartments to, a little bit cheaper, but then, we'll take care of the rest later. Okay. My biggest problem is not fucking New York, because I think, New York is going to struggle, and that's fine. But I think Zohan's going to do okay in New York City. My biggest problem is this 30% going to Florida or going elsewhere, because that's going to increase property in Florida, because we got to remember, Florida is not, it's not very a lot of space. Okay. You're surrounded by water. Okay. So you can't grow any more than what you have, and you can't go any more higher because of hurricanes. So it's like these buildings are not made to stand forever. As we saw a few years back, a collapse in Mid Beach up in town in South Florida. So a lot of these buildings are falling apart and falling, and the new ones that they're building, I mean, they're very expensive, and all it's going to do is raise up the prices, because guess what? We got an influx of people coming in, so we got to raise up the prices, so that way, there's competition. The competition always going to raise up the prices, and who's going to lose? The middle class and the poor of South Florida.
Yep.
It's a New York 2.0 that's going to happen in Florida. I'm predicting. I'm a psychic. That's all I do.
Yeah, it's a good point. I don't like people will flee. They'll flee, and was it Ron DeSantis jokingly on X or something like that? He was like, "Oh, I'm gonna start taxing. I'm gonna have a New York import tax for people that import into New York or from New York into Florida." It's funny.
It's like a transport, it's like a transplant tax, and okay, Florida could use the extra money. That's fine and dandy, but that's just going to bring, you don't understand, more traffic, more problems, more richer people, so more crime, because the ones are down below, the low poverty ones, they don't have the greatest places to live in South Florida, and they don't make the greatest amount of money. So there are a lot of opportunistic individuals that go and commit crimes throughout Florida, and you hear a lot of these, people that have money and rappers end up being dead because they need the money, they need the hit to get paid, and that's what it is. I was born and raised in South Florida, so I'm very aware of South Florida and in Florida. But I know when we get the snowbirds that come in the winter, it's fucking crazy, because they drive differently. They get into a lot of accidents in South Florida, and it's a headache, and we're always wishing them to go back to Canada, right? So now we're going to get an influx of 30% of New Yorkers that are going to just flock over to Florida. That's going to be overwhelming. I don't know, but I'm telling you, 30% is a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be a lot, man. I think I think all the individuals that are smart, that have the ability and resources to leave, they're already planning their exit.
Yeah. I mean, Texas is probably where they'll end up, but I know they're going to try to take Texas, the Islam, the Islamic. That's their main goal, because they got New York. And now they're celebrating. Yeah, we got the power. Look, we got Detroit. We got Minnesota. We got Islam everywhere. Right? So their goal is to build a Mecca in Texas. And Texas is trying to prevent that from happening. But as you can see what happened in New York, it could happen in Texas.
Yep.
So, and these people, they multiply kids like every year. Every year they have a kid, and that's how they gonna infiltrate us, because they're just gonna keep popping up these kids, and they're gonna go and teach them their ways, and that's gonna infiltrate our country because they're already here. So what we need to do is we need to hire more ICE agents. We need over easily 150,000 agents to 200,000 agents, and we got to go into every state, and we got to take out all these illegal immigrants now, especially New York and New York City, because this election, I'm very 100% sure, and fuck you, YouTube, because I know you're going to censor me, was rigged. And there's proof of it, and like, shut me up if you can, because I tell you right now, you don't have a case.
Yeah.
Like, they rigged that election. They had people undercover go in and say, I don't even have ID. I just came here. Oh, okay. Don't worry. We'll sign you in. And all you got to do is go across the street and vote. Oh, and make sure, vote for the one that has the M in his name.
Yeah. That was one of the main reasons why they, imported a lot of these immigrants into these sanctuary cities, to get individuals like this. It's all a play. It's all a play. It's all a play by individuals that, we don't see in the news. It's individuals that we don't see. It's the big money folks that have this whole planned situation to bring in these guys, to bring in these puppets, to manipulate. There's a reason why this dude is a theater kid. He's very personable. Gavin Newsom is like an old version of that, but he's a career politician, where this guy, he's a theater kid. He's like Macron, right? Like, very personable on the television, very personal on the phone, just like Obama. Obama was the same way. Super personable. That was the only thing that Kamala was lacking, was her personability and a significant amount of intelligence. But like, Obama was well spoken, That's why so many people fall for it.
Yeah, the smooth talkers, the smooth operators.
Yep.
And that's how they fool the people. And I've been following Zohan all year, and I can tell you, he, like, that speech that he gave was a total flip from how he projected himself.
Yeah, and then he asked for money.
Yeah, and now he's asking for money. Remember, I told you not to send nothing? Well, now you can send all.
But you know what? Honestly, the way that it was done, again, the dude is personable, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whoever's chopping up his videos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it says it's paid for by Zohan Mandani's transition team.
Yep.
I wonder who funded some of that money there. Soros. I know.
That's the thing, right? Like, the Democrats, just in general, they say, oh, we got to tax the rich, tax the rich. The thing is, I've seen more Democrats that have, like, just in my experience, the Democrats that I know in general have more money than the Republicans, right? Republicans are, quote unquote, considered like working. They do jobs, and they get money through trades and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But Democrats generally have more money backing them than the Republican Party does.
That's true.
To say, like, the backwards thinking, the backwards logic of, oh, tax the rich, it's a play for fools in New York with the septum nose rings, the
rainbow flags,
that don't understand policies. What's up, Terry? That don't understand policies, that don't understand, what they're actually voting for. Like, but yeah, we got to tax the rich. I think the rich should do blah, blah, blah. They should spread their wealth. Like, no, this is just like another step universal base income, you know, like with people.
Why are you going to penalize someone for being successful?
Correct. And you like, just like I said, the Democrats, they got more money and more billionaires in their political party. Like, they know it's just a play. It's just a play, like a ploy to get votes from dumb voters. And then, you know, they also know, and we've talked about this before, let's say, you know, the Black community, specifically in New York, they know that only 3%, 4% of them show up to vote. It's mostly white women that show up to vote.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, white, dumb, you know.
Septum ring, going to the
Yeah.
New York Art University, getting a degree in basket weaving, you know,
tattoos on their forehead.
Yeah, underwater, you know, underwater economics, whatever, you know.
You know what it was? It was the young, dumb, full of cum kids out there in New York City that they really brainwashed them. And I'm talking about those in between 18 and 32.
Correct.
And I just think that they were manipulated a certain way. He touched a little bit of their heartstrings. He got them to have some kind of feeling towards him. And, you know, like a rebel, like they rebelled against the system, and now they want to use the system to benefit themselves. And they're going to have a rude awakening.
You know, but it's crazy because they're as much as they're educated on paper, they're undereducated in like regular economics.
Yeah.
You don't offer a bunch of free programs and expect nobody to get taxed. You know,
exactly.
But these folks have been going to school. They're on government grants. They're on, you know, government assistance, whatever it is. Again, just like you mentioned, anywhere from like 25, let's say 21 to 35 or something like that. But like these people are predominantly liberal, going, you know, getting their dance degree or whatever it is. And it's like they see this guy on TikTok. And they're like, oh, yeah, this guy, I'm going to vote for him. I don't know any of his policies. I don't know how he's going to give free bus rides. I don't know how he's going to do that. But
Wait a minute. I don't know how he grew up. I don't know where he was born. I don't. He was a rapper too? Fascinating.
Look, Terry just dropped it. Statistics show 85% of Mondani voters were female 18 to 29. There it is right there, you know?
Yeah, I think we need a pick me up story, bro. You wanna see a pick me up story?
Let's go.
All right. I mean, it brings joy to my heart. Okay, to hear what we're gonna hear next and watch what we're gonna watch next. So let's see here. Without further ado, let's watch this.
We continue to follow breaking news that Representative Nancy Pelosi, the former Speaker of the House, has announced that she will not seek re-election after decades in Congress. This is a social media post from Fox News sharing that breaking news. And I also wanted to share this, a live look on
she better be going to Alcatraz
of San Francisco, the area
you
that
better be going to Alcatraz.
Pelosi has represented for quite some time. And on
they
the
better
right-hand
arrest her.
side, the Capitol Hill, where she has been Speaker of the House as
she
well.
Needs to go to jail.
Democrat Representative Nancy Pelosi announcing this morning that she will retire from Congress. She is 85 years old. She was first elected to the House in 1987, making history as the first woman to serve as Speaker of the House, which is a role that she held twice during her 38 years in Congress. Her decision not to run next year opens the door for new Democratic voices to seek her San Francisco House seat. So she did make that announcement,
you know who it is, right?
Earlier this morning, ending speculation that one of the most powerful women in American politics would seek another term. So she made that announcement on social media. And her announcement comes after Californians voted to redraw the state's congressional maps a move that could add as many as 5 Democratic-held seats to Congress
Or
to
Gavin
counter
Newsom.
Texas Republicans' move to redraw their own maps at President Trump's request. She did make
Gavin
that
Newsom
social
could go after
media
that.
announcement earlier this morning, truly moments ago, and I did want to play that out for you right now.
Dear San Francisco, we are fortunate to live in the most beautiful, remarkable place on earth. But the true magic of San Francisco, the San Franciscans. There's a reason why our city has always been synonymous with the future. Here we don't fear the future, we forge it. From the gold rush to the miracles of science and technology, our city has always been the cradle of innovation, buzzing with optimism and creativity. We are a vibrant and diverse city, home to hardworking families.
That was before you took over, bitch.
And heroic veterans, and the dreams of entrepreneurs and immigrants. From Chinatown to Japantown, from the Mission to the Fillmore, from Hunters Point to the Castro, North Beach to the Sunset.
Yeah.
We are also resilient, experiencing more than our fair share of challenges. When the Loma Prieta earthquake struck, we brought in federal support that ensured we would not just recover, but reimagine the South of Market neighborhood. And of course, HIV/AIDS tested our city to its core. But out of our agony came action. Under the leadership of UCSF and San Francisco General, we pioneered comprehensive community-based care, prevention, and research. That very system served as a model as we wrote the Ryan White Care Act, which still ensures access to life-saving medical care nationwide. Fittingly, our city is home to the
That was a
National
scam,
AIDS
too.
Memorial Grove, a place of renewal where we remember the loved ones we lost. For decades, I've cherished the privilege of representing our magnificent city in the United States.
Why the fucking violin?
It seems prophetic now that the slogan of my very first campaign in 1987 was, "A voice that will be heard." And it was you who made those words come true. It was the faith that you had placed in me and the latitude that you had given me that enabled me to shatter the marble ceiling and be the first woman Speaker of the House, whose voice would certainly be heard. It was an historic moment for our country, and it was momentous for our community, empowering me to bring home billions of dollars for our city and our state. With these resources, we have powered enormous progress. For healthcare, from the fight against HIV/AIDS to the Affordable Care Act.
Scam.
For transportation, extending BART, electrifying Caltrain,
The one who brought
creating
AIDS
the
here.
3rd Street Light Rail, and the Central
So,
Subway, and strengthening our iconic Golden Gate Bridge, all creating good-paying jobs. For housing, enabling nonprofits to build affordable, low-income, community-based housing with the low-income housing tax credit. For the environment, from protecting clean air and water, to taking action on climate, to transforming the Presidio from a military post to a national park, a model for the nation. Of course, credit for this work also goes to our brothers and sisters in labor, and it was also made possible by the entrepreneurial spirit of our private and nonprofit sectors. We can be proud of what we have accomplished, but there's always much more work to be done. Of course, San Francisco's impact is not confined to our city limits. The Affordable Care Act, Wall Street reform, human rights abroad, and so many other priorities all sprang from the vision, values, and voices of San Franciscans. Because of your trust, I was able to represent our city and our country around the world with patriotism and pride. I say to my colleagues in the House all the time, no matter what title they have bestowed upon me, Speaker, Leader,
Bitch.
there has been no greater honor for me than to stand on the House floor and say, I speak for the people of San Francisco. I have truly loved serving as your voice in Congress, and I've always honored the song of St. Francis, Lord, make me an instrument of thy peace, the anthem of our city. That is why I want you, my fellow San Franciscans, to be the first to know. I will not be seeking re-election to Congress. With a grateful heart, I look forward to my final year of service as your proud representative. As we go forward, my message to the city I love is this: San Francisco, know your power. We have made history. We have made progress. We have always led the way. And now we must continue to do so by remaining full participants in our democracy and fighting for the American ideals we hold dear. In doing so, we ensure that our city shines on as a beacon of hope, justice, and peace for the country and for generations to come. After all, San Francisco is the greatest city on earth with the most extraordinary people on earth, and a place that I will always believe is heaven on earth. Thank you, San Francisco, for trusting me to be your voice in Congress. May God bless you. May God bless the United States of America.
Before we head to break, I did want to share this live look with you of San Francisco as we continue to follow that breaking news. Representative Nancy Pelosi announcing that she will not seek re-election next year.
Okay, well, good for her. I got so much to say.
What you got?
That man, I got anger. I got anger. I got this energy, strong energy, because this lady is full of shit. Like that whole piece we saw, what were we supposed to feel? Some kind of like happiness or something for her? Like, explain it to me, Tyson. What am I supposed to be feeling? Because I feel nothing but anger inside.
You know, she was the longest sitting congresswoman, right? What they say she got elected? So 1987, right? And obviously, like, she's flip-flopped so many times, all this other stuff. Whoever's gonna take her place, she is gonna have some power. And you know, she's done her insider trading, she's allegedly all this other stuff. But the real people that push stuff through is seats like Nancy Pelosi. You know, I'm glad that this is her last year. But I think specifically she had more power than Obama, more power than Joe Biden, Bush, all this other stuff. She's been around for a lot of presidents. But whoever
and she's been no, I was saying because she's been bought off.
Right. So,
and the reason why I say that, and the reason why I say that is because in her little piece that she did there, she brought up a little something called HIV/AIDS. And I wonder who was working on HIV/AIDS at that time, Dr. Fauci.
Yeah.
I wonder how Dr. Fauci was getting funded. George Soros. Oh, so Soros was funding the whole thing and bringing the AIDS to California, and then they were sucking out the money because they got to that Unaffordable Care Act bullshit that stole trillions of dollars from Americans' taxpayers. Okay, find me a fucking river.
And that's the play. Like, that is the play, right? Like, that's why those seats in the House, in Congress, like, that's why those individuals, like, they do have a lot of power. You know, the president, don't get me wrong, does have some stuff, has the ability to do his thing, but also the seats in Congress hold a lot of power, and they know exactly what's going on. There's a reason why Jasmine Crockett is out here, you know, doing her thing, doing all, you know, her stuff, her situation, because she has visibility. Nancy Pelosi has visibility. Hakeem Jeffries has visibility. And the more visibility have, the more what comes in, the more money comes in, the more of these lobbyists, the more of these other companies that come in that back these individuals because they got the visibility. And then how do you think some of these things get passed?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a clip? Do you have something? Do you have a clip with Trump saying something about Pelosi? How she's like an evil witch?
No, I don't. But if you want to fish for it, I can continue on with my rant because I'm pissed.
Yeah.
So, with the George Soros, because he played a big part in her and funding her campaign and throwing money in California. I wonder how her husband. I know her husband really enjoyed Bohemian Grove. I mean, he was there every fucking year. A lot of crazy things happen in Bohemian Grove, and it doesn't get mentioned a lot on YouTube lately. But Pelosi's had very big ties with that and with that society. But it's on the hush. You can't talk about it because they'll censor you, right? Because that's what they did to Alex Jones. He went in there, he investigated, he was like, holy shit. And look where he's at now. He was hit with a big ass lawsuit from an incident that happened in Connecticut. And the fact that they just, as fast as they did Charlie Kirk, that's what they did in Columbine with the little bullshit they had here with the school shooting. Where was it at? It was in Sandy Hook. You know, so my thing is like, I'm trying to break it down, you know, and trying to figure out. Got to follow the money because the money silences people and the money makes you powerful. And we can see what they did to Alex Jones. They hit him with this big ass, super tough lawsuit that, like, how the fuck he's gonna ever pay that? He can't. The Supreme Court didn't even want to touch it because they already knew that shit was dirty, and they don't even want to get their hands dirty with it. They covered Sandy Hook super fast. Like they didn't even let the blood dry. Like they didn't even like get to clean the blood. They just knocked that shit down and took it apart, and that was it. No evidence here. You can't see shit. I haven't seen much evidence from that case either.
No.
And it's like, why is the secret and why the cover up, and then blame it on Alex Jones, which all he said was he don't think the story went the way they said it went.
Right.
You know, I got to cover my ass too because, you know, I don't want Sandy Hook coming over here trying to get money off of me because I'll tell you right now, he ain't getting shit. But I always found it that Sandy Hook very suspicious. Just like Alex, I felt that energy too. Very, very suspicious. And how they with the Charlie Kirk thing, I'm telling you, when I heard in my head at that day, it said Assad. It was Israelis. Like it had Assad. It was very loud in my head, and I was like, "Whoa!" You know, I don't want to get in trouble myself because if they go back and watch that video, they're gonna hear a lot of truth, and they're like, "Oh shit, he knows too much. He's a fucking good psychic. Let's take him out." And I'm like, "No, I'm not suicidal." So I gotta say that because they will come and unlive you if you know too much. Yeah, follow the money. You know. And I think Trump, since this is his final term, he needs to be aggressive because they're trying to strip his powers. They're trying to strip his tariff powers. They're trying to like make him small. While the world sees him as king, the United States sees him as a peasant. You know, and it's like that's weird. You know, and who's funding that?
It's funny because when you just said king, right? Like, the no king stuff, all this other stuff. At the end of the day, the real kings are the individuals that are in like Nancy Pelosi's seat, right? And we just talked about this in the previous segment regarding individuals that got the real money, that got the real backing, right? Like those are the individuals that are making, they don't care. Nancy Pelosi, Hakeem Jeffries, they don't care that people aren't getting EBT, that aren't getting paid. They don't care about any of that. They just want to pass their particular agenda that they're getting, allegedly pushed to push through. They don't care, right? Because at the end of the day, they're getting paid right now. They're getting paid right now. Sitting, voting no on crap. They are getting paid right now. They don't care about people. As much as they try to fugazi that they actually care about people, they do not.
They don't care.
Trump calls them out. That's one of the main reasons why they don't like Trump, right? Is because he calls them out. Like in the video clip I saw earlier today, Trump calls Nancy Pelosi evil, witch, bad, and it's facts. But they don't like that because he's like he knows what they're doing. Like he knows the game, and he can't go out and openly say to the American people, like, yo, these people don't care about you. He does in a, incognito way. Same thing with, Vivek and all this other stuff. They say it in an incognito way, but the basic individual, the basic voter doesn't understand what's happening here.
Yeah. Yeah. They're oblivious to what's going on. They just don't study fucking history. That's why a lot of these kids fail history, because they don't research, they don't look, they don't break down for themselves. They just get on their little phone and watch their little tiki-takis and that's it. And they get influenced by that. And I think this is the biggest problem in society is the cell phones.
Yeah.
Because it's a walking computer. And you can do anything and everything with your cell phone.
Yep.
It's just, we're living in dangerous times, Tyson. And it's going to be a slippery slide down a horrible stream of negativity and really suspicious things going to be happening, especially in 2026. Like a lot of like terroristic acts is going to happen in 2026. I just feel it.
It's wild.
Yeah. But did you ever find that video of the Trump and Pelosi and what he
let me see
had to say about her? Because I know Trump. I know what he's gonna say. She's leaving Congress, but she's going to Alcatraz next. 85. Okay, you could serve like 5.
I got it.
5 years in Alcatraz.
Let's see. Terry said, I've seen 2 movies come to reality for years now. What 2 movies? I want to know. Let me see.
I know with me, the only movie that's come true for me is Phenomenal. Because I'm getting shocked in my head with fucking, like, every night, Tyson, for the past, like, week, I've been getting, like, electric shock in my brain. Like, so hard that it's like a jolt of lightning hitting you. Like, someone punch you, like, super hard in your face, but not hitting your face, but hitting your brain. That's what I'm feeling. And it's waking me up at night.
It's wild.
Yeah, in the middle of the night. But yeah, let's go ahead and
Terry said Escape from LA, and yeah, you're right. Escape from LA and Escape from New York for sure. Great movies, man.
They were good.
Yeah, Kurt Russell.
Mm-hmm. Kurt Russell, when he was really good, Kurt Russell, that was like what was it? The movie he did, Big Trouble in Little China.
Super good movie.
Yes.
Super good movie. Yeah, that's how it's going to be in New York. It's wild, man. I have
No.
no reason to go to New York, by the way. Like,
I don't.
why the heck do I need to go to New York?
I don't want to. After
I've been
January,
there. I've been there a couple times. I've traveled there. I saw the city, went up to the Bronx, went up to upstate. My aunt used to live in upstate. Super nice. It's totally different. But
you know what I'm waiting for? For Zohan to come out and have a speech and say that the Statue of Liberty is offensive and he wants to take it down.
bro, if he did that,
Dude. Hey, who's gonna stop him? Oh, isn't the president supposed to be like the number one? But yet you have these mayors thinking that they are number one because they running the major city of America, and they think that now they're their little god,
running it into the ground.
and and they feel like this god power. They have a god complex. And they have this like, ha ha ha, I got power now, and I'm gonna go against Trump, and I'm gonna go against everything he says, and I'm gonna fight him to the death.
But yo, like real, like serious talk, like, you know, when he talks about, because Doge is still going on, right? Like when he talks about government waste, fraud, and abuse, all these places got so much money. They got this in bull crap, like inflated idea that their economy, their city is doing good, but it really wasn't doing good. They have poor leadership. It really wasn't doing good. And Trump's like, it's crazy to me because again, it combats their agenda. It combats what they want to do. Like Trump going in there and saying, hey, you know, we got to clean this up. We got to bring ICE in. We got to, you know, get all these illegals out, the crime out, because he wants to run it like a business. These folks don't want to run it off like a business. They just want to run it off of the government funding them.
Yeah,
I got the video.
It's very the thinking of, I'm trying to think like how would it be like with free busing, right? Free what else he was giving out free? Because there's a lot of free stuff.
Yeah, he pedaled back. He said cheaper groceries.
Okay, so he got from free to cheaper groceries. Okay,
and rent freeze.
And okay, rent freeze, which is not gonna. It hurts more the owners of apartment buildings than it does, because prices of materials go up every fucking year. Like, you think like the plumbing is cheap? Do you think that any wood that they have to put up, sheetrock, all that shit goes up in price every fucking year? It doesn't go down.
Yep.
So now you're going to put a freeze, and now these owners are going to have to purchase all these products at a higher amount, but then they're only getting the same as last year's pay. So they're losing money in the long run, and then they're going to be taxed more because, of course, Mandami wants to raise the taxes on the rich. So if you own apartment buildings and rent them out, guess what? You consider as a little rich. We're going to tax you even more. So doesn't make sense.
You know, they won't do a moratorium, but like, you know, during COVID, because at the time during COVID, I had an apartment complex, and nobody like 2 people paid rent, dude. And it was gnarly, man.
You know, Tyson,
because like they didn't pay rent, and I was like, what? Like, what am I? You know, like, because the rent offsets the cost of the building. So, and then it was like a couple months later they did the moratorium for landlords, which helped. But I was like, dude, this is wild, man.
Yeah, it's not fair. You know it. You experienced it yourself, Tyson.
Yeah, and they kept, you know, like when because you could at the time you could still file evictions, but then if they said that they have COVID, the eviction stopped. So,
but you still get taxed.
Yeah, and I still had to pay the mortgage.
Exactly.
And it was like, it was wild, man. Like
How is that fair?
I was going down there and I was like, yo, like, like pay. And they're like, oh, we got COVID. We got COVID. I'm like, dude, this is wild, man. It was,
and
it
that
was
hurts you. That hurts you.
wild, man. Yeah.
Because
it was wild, bro.
it
would be different. It would be different if it was like, because I've had some tenants, like in a single family house where they've had some hardships, and then they tell me, they just talk to me, and I'm like, okay, cool. Like, no big deal, but like this went on for like 8 months, man. Like on the apartment complex.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, it's wild. So let me go ahead and put your video up so we can take a look at it.
It's 33 seconds.
Yeah, it's Trump pretty much putting Pelosi where she needs to be. Let's check it out.
Thank you, press. Thank you, press.
About Nancy Pelosi?
Nancy Pelosi's retirement.
I think she's an evil woman. I'm glad she's retiring. I think she did the country a great service by retiring. I think she was a tremendous liability for the country.
And on Dick Cheney.
I thought she was an evil woman who did a poor job, who cost the country a lot in damages and in reputation. I thought she was terrible. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, press.
He didn't want to answer about Dick Cheney
Thank you.
because he feels the same way I do. We don't trust that dick. Building 7, Dick.
Yeah.
Come on. Listen, I know too much. That's what I'm saying. Like everything, what a sham America went through, especially in like the 80s. Like I would say, like late 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, 2000s. We got screwed along the way, and we got Trump that tried to help us, and then they handicap him with the COVID, so he couldn't like really do what he wanted to do because he had this bullshit he had to deal with. That was, I talked about it. I got censored on YouTube about it. If it's on YouTube, if you can see it, go back and watch, because I talk about all this and I predicted where it came out before they even started talking about it. So it's like I got censored by YouTube big time, and that's why my subscriber count don't go up anywhere. I'm actually losing subscribers. I lost 2 subscribers. I'm like, wow, I lost 2 subscribers and I'm not getting anything. And it's been like that for like a month, easily over a month. And I'm like, okay, so the censorship is still real. I'm still throttled down and not reaching out to a lot. As I'm happy I got 500 over 500, but with the amount of time that I've been on YouTube, and it just doesn't math up.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead, Tyson.
Let's see. Hold on. Terry said, if the rich leave, next down is the middle class. Exactly.
Yeah.
And if they leave, it'll be lower class.
Mm-hmm.
Then once the lower class is gone, that's it. Yep.
And then they bring in their people.
Absolutely.
They bring the people from Uganda.
Yep. And that unfortunately, that's the most sad thing about the story with New York, Chicago, Baltimore. The middle class is the people that suffer the most.
Yep. Especially when they bring in illegals into the country and not doing nothing about it. And the ones that get screwed over is the middle class, because the rent goes up because there's no space for anyone. And since there's no space, there's competition. And when there's competition, prices go up.
Yep. Yep. Exactly, man.
Come on, man. Help me make it make sense.
It's wild.
But I got another story for us to watch if you want.
Yep.
I have a whole lineup, so I'm just trying to go through what I have here, and there's a lot. We could go sci-fi if we wanted to.
What you got? What you got lined up?
Let's go with sci-fi. Let's go with a little sci-fi because I think the sci-fi is the 3-Eye Atlas, and this is a video coming from Jason A. So let's go ahead and set this up, and let's watch and enjoy. Okay, I gotta take off yours and put on mine.
Oh.
Look at this. This is 3-Eye Atlas. You know how the last time we talked about it went behind the sun, then it got brighter, then it got bluer, then it started to go faster, non-gravitational acceleration? Well, guess what? We just got new images of it, and to add some more strangeness to the 3-Eye Atlas saga, because
no tail.
I don't want to overhype this, but yeah, you see, that's a comet. It does not have a very big, very noticeable cometary tail.
Okay, take a look at this. The New York Post saying that U.S. Representative Anna Paulina Luna is calling on NASA to share unreleased photos of the 3-Eye Atlas comet as it appears to have shifted colors for a third time. NASA discovered the interstellar comet, and it's, of course, fascinating because it's an interstellar object that has wandered into our backyard. The space agency spotting the quick-moving object with the Atlas telescope in Chile over the summer, and then it confirmed that it was a comet from another star system shortly after. It's officially the third ever known interstellar object to pass through our solar system, and it poses no threat to Earth. Some online conspiracy theories and even a few scientists have suggested that 3-Eye Atlas might be an artificial object or even a probe from another civilization because of its strange chemical makeup and trajectory. Ken Gailey is standing by. He's an astronomy professor at the University of Iowa. Ken, little green men with big eyes and flying saucers, all but confirmed now, correct?
Well, probably not, but I mean, it's exciting. These comets are very exciting because they're coming from outside our solar system. So anytime an object is coming to us from outside the solar system, it's going to stimulate some great interest. And some of that interest will be more on the science fiction-y side and some more on the science side. And it's never completely obvious where to draw that line. Science has to take its course. But we would always start off with the assumption that these are natural objects, and we would study them in that way. And if there's really very powerful evidence that they're not, then we might be led toward another direction. But for now, there's still plenty of evidence that these are potentially just completely natural objects. So let's start with understanding what a comet is in the first place, because comets are quite normal. We've seen many comets in our own solar system. They're big, giant balls of ice, and typically water ice, but some carbon dioxide ice and carbon monoxide ice is in there as well. And when they get close to the sun, they evaporate some of this ice. And there's dust trapped in the ice, which then leaves the comet, and it reflects sunlight. And then the sunlight that it's reflecting actually pushes on the dust and pulls it out into a beautiful tail. So comets are quite pretty, and they tell us a lot about our own solar system. But these three comets that you talked about are all from outside our solar system.
Professor, the last time we spoke, which was like the day before yesterday, you were saying that when it went behind the sun, the natural explanation for the non-gravitational acceleration and the thrust might be because it burned off a bunch of chemicals or something, and that was giving it the thrust to the tune of like 13%, and we would see a humongous tail maybe. What is going on?
Yeah, that's very surprising because there should have been a very massive cloud of gas and dust around it based on what we know about comets. In fact, we see other comets in the solar system that have a beautiful tail away from the sun behind them. Lemon is an excellent example. But in our case of 3-Eye Atlas, it looks like a fuzzy ball of light. Even after it passed through perihelion, it was heated by 770 watts per square meter. And we know that the previous plume of gas was mostly carbon dioxide. And carbon dioxide ices can sublimate at a much lower temperature than water ice. So we should have seen it break up, or at the very least disintegrate to a very dense and massive cloud of gas and dust that is pushed away from the sun by the solar radiation and the solar wind. But we don't see that. So the question is, what's going on? One possibility is that what evaporates from it are fragments of ice, and they get vaporized by sunlight before they have a chance to turn around and show up as a plume of glow behind it, away from the sun. That's one possible interpretation, but otherwise I just don't know what to make of it. There was also a blue color that was noticed just a few days ago, and also in addition to that, it became brighter by a factor of 5. So what I'm saying is, there are things we don't fully understand about this object. That's what makes it exciting.
Let's satisfy the appetite of the people who think this could be
I hope it's Jesus
object, if you will. What type of evidence would be necessary to prove that it were an artificial object, to actually take something like that seriously?
Right. Well, that's a very interesting question, because let's start with Uma'u. That one, you would expect if it was an artificial object, it might have some ability to generate thrust on its own. But the problem is comets can generate thrust on their own because of this evaporating ice that comes off it. It only comes off on the side that's facing the sun. So it's a push. As this stuff evaporates, it pushes the comet. And so you can see a trajectory that's not completely natural under the gravity of the sun, but it is natural in the sense that it's still coming from this push from the evaporating stuff. Now, Uma'u, we couldn't see the evaporating stuff coming off it, and yet it was getting a push anyway. So that's what made it quite interesting from the point of view of possibly being some kind of a spacecraft, because it was getting a push. But the push it was getting is consistent with other kinds of ices that we can't see as easily when they evaporate. And these other kinds of ices would be fascinating from the point of view of where this comet formed and what kind of conditions it formed under. Now, the last 2 comets that we've seen, we could see the stuff that was evaporating. So we understand the push that they're getting. But they're different too, because Uma'u was very long and skinny, which also kind of conjured the sense of a rocket or something. But the next 2 were not that way. They're more normally shaped. But this 3I Atlas that you're talking about is very weird, because its outside layer is mostly carbon dioxide, which is dry ice. So that's what you see in parties. It's very cold. It makes that misty stuff coming off. That's mostly what the outside of 3I Atlas is. And that's very unusual for it to be that pure carbon dioxide. We don't see that in our own solar system. But you have to remember that these comets have been outside of any star system for billions of years. And as a result, they've been getting hit by what's out there in the galaxy, which is something called cosmic rays, which are very high energy particles that crash into everything out there. We're protected from this by our sun's magnetic field and solar wind. But the comets out there are getting hit by these cosmic rays, and that's what can cause the carbon monoxide and H2O to turn into carbon dioxide. So it's natural that the outside layer could have gotten very heavily processed. But it's still, even if you undo that processing, it still is weird what its composition is made of. So it probably formed from a very different kind of star than the sun.
Representative Anna Paulina Luna sending this out earlier today, saying she just had a good conversation with NASA regarding 3I Atlas. As soon as the government reopens, they'll be releasing images and data of it. She says that NASA has also noted, she says she's sure that it'll be one of many interstellar objects that we will be able to track now that technology has advanced. My question for you, Ken, what do we stand to learn from an object like 3I Atlas? What can it teach us about areas that are far, far away?
Well, that's a great question, because the answer is we don't know until we find out what it has to tell us. Because science is about unraveling the stories of nature, and these objects from outside our solar system have a story to tell that we don't know yet what that story is.
And I think all of us will wait for the data that will come in the coming weeks, and especially on December 19th, when it comes closest to Earth. That's 6 days before Christmas, and let's hope we don't get unwanted gifts for our holidays.
or at least maybe those gifts will be nice and friendly and wonderful and help us figure the universe out. We'll see. Avi, you do not seem surprised here. I know that we've been asking you about this, and we were all expecting to see a tail, and we asked you for a natural, plausible explanation. You gave us that one, and now we're seeing no tail. Like, what do you think it is?
I don't know. I think... it's like a blind date with an interstellar object that came from an environment that, is alien to us. And I think the key question is whether it's natural or technological. The secondary question, if it's natural, what kind of an environment did it come from? It must be a common environment that produces large packages delivered to our mailbox, and we just need to find out the sender. Either way, it's thrilling, and it's really the reason why science is worthwhile doing, because we can gain new knowledge, and that goes against the tendency of experts to pretend to be the adults in the room that know the answer in advance. Well, guess what? This object is telling the experts, think twice.
Well, unlike 3i Atlas, this tale is far from over, and we will be dialing you up every twist and turn.
All right. Thank you, Jason A, for
That's
great.
wild. What do you think it is, man?
This is what I think, right? Okay. Back in August 15 in 1977, the WOW signal was detected by a big ear radio telescope at Ohio State University. And the signal was so powerful and it lasted 72 seconds. It was a big burst of radio waves, and it has never been detected again. And the origin remains a mystery to this day, right? This Atlas, 3i Atlas, came from the same direction of that WOW signal back in 1977. Could this be what we detected back then? The WOW signal is this craft that probably sent out a 72-second outburst signal ahead of it. Could it be like a warning? We're coming. And now they're here. I mean, the world would take the biggest shit if this 3i Atlas truly slowed down and reverse thrust. This world will go to their hands and knees.
Wow. So can you tell me a little bit about when was that other one?
The WOW signal?
Yeah.
That was back in August 15, 1977. And it was picked up by Ohio State University. And it was a 72-second signal that it was just a burst of energy that just came through, and with information, like it bombarded one of their big ear radio telescopes they had out there at the university, and they were never detected that signal ever again, and they kept looking for it to see if they could find it, and they just it was just that energy that came through. Now, where 3i Atlas is coming from is the same exact direction where they found and they got the WOW signal from.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. That's wild.
That is super wild. And the fact that I am alive to witness this is awesome.
That's wild, man.
Because this is not a comet. If it was a comet, it would have a tail. End of story. This thing doesn't even have a tail.
What happened to the other one? It just disappeared?
The WOW moment? The WOW? The WOW, they never found it ever again. It's just like, it just remains a mystery to
so
this day.
It came into orbit and then just was gone.
Yeah, it just came through us. It was a signal at that moment. That university picked it up, and it's just a wave of energy that came through for 72 seconds from that area where 3i Atlas is coming from right now. And it's crossing our universe, and the fact that none of our gravity pulls on this at all. This thing is just going like without, and it's just going through, and it has these changes of color, but it's like it's not normal.
Wow.
They've never seen this ever before. This is history right now, and we're so caught up with the bullshit that goes on this planet, especially the distractions, that something like big time that is passing in our solar system, and it just gets very minimum coverage. It's just, to me, I'm like, what?
Well, it's just like that crash that happened at Area 51.
Yes. What was that about?
two weeks ago or something like that.
Yeah, I did a story about that, and it landed on public territory. So, but they went real quick and secured it off, and not let anybody go through there. Yet it's public land, but yeah, and then it's just weird shit.
What you're probably more well versed in this than I am in regards of like Roswell.
Mm-hmm.
Roswell.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I would like as a kid, I would like read about it and stuff, or like watch Unsolved Mysteries, and I'd just get freaked out. But because there's no way that we're living in this floating rock in the middle of space,
Mm-hmm.
and there's nothing else. Like,
nope.
But Joe Rogan and Elon Musk were talking about this a couple days ago when Elon was on Joe's podcast, and Elon was like, "Listen, if I knew of something, like clearly, I would let you know."
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure he has his theses about, or hypothesis. Yeah, thesis.
Hypothesis.
Right? Yeah, hypothesis about what is out there, but like physical evidence is probably very minimal. So, but that's what he said on Joe Rogan. What happened with the Roswell situation? Because the same thing happened. Like something crashed.
Mm-hmm.
They covered it,
mm-hmm.
and then it was gone. Right?
Yeah, they took it to Area 51, and they re-engineered it. They back-engineered it, and they got a lot of information from it. And thanks to that crash and that craft, CERN was developed. A lot of you could think that craft for the internet. You could think that craft for your cell phones and all the technology that we have right now, because this technology does not belong to us. This technology, we got it from someone else.
Wow.
Yeah. Humanity is just they're advanced, but not that advanced, and they kind of cheated. And a lot of people knew this, and they're not alive because of it, because they knew too much. I believe that they're coming back. And
I had my aunt. So we lived. Anyways, my aunt had a friend that their dad went to, like, worked at Area 51, and the way that their place was set up, like he had, and at the time it wasn't a big deal. Well, at the time it was a big deal because not a lot of houses had it, but like he had security systems everywhere, inside the house, outside the house. They lived in like they had a gate so nobody could get in, and then he would drive his car to this drop off point, and then a big transit vehicle would pick him up and commute him out there.
Right.
And then I believe I believe he ended up dying. I think like when my aunt was like still in high school, so like he died pretty young. So it's just that's how they roll.
Yeah, if you know too much and they think that you're not gonna be here for long, then you're not gonna be here for long. Like if you're not here and staying here and working here full time all the time, like probably for the rest of your life, like you're not coming out of here live and spreading the word. Like that, you got to keep a secret, and you can't you can't trust people with secrets because they don't keep the secret; they spread it.
That's wild, man.
Yeah, it is. It's very wild. What they have in there and what they continue to develop and bring out is so sci-fi.
Did you like Independence Day?
I liked Independence Day. I actually, when I was growing up, I really loved the Twilight Zone.
Twilight Zone was cool too.
Yeah, the black and white.
Twilight Zone was cool too, man. I remember, dude, because I said Unsolved Mysteries. Like I'd be at home by myself, and then my mom was like, "Oh, we'll be back in a little bit," and then I turn on Unsolved Mysteries, man, and that music, like I get the goosebumps, man, because a lot of those, like ghosts, paranormal activity, spirits, and things like that. Those are things that are real. With UFOs, like I haven't personally seen a UFO or anything like that. So, but there's just been so many stories, particularly in areas like Alaska and all this other stuff, where people just get taken.
Yeah, a lot. Like I've seen stories also of people being taken, and I've had my own experiences with the paranormal and ghosts because I used to see them when I was little, and I have spoken a lot about this in my past shows where I got really in depth. But I'm not Tyson. I'm not going to put you through that.
Well, like paranormal stuff, paranormal stuff, spirititos, spirits, and stuff like that. They're legitimate, man. Like we live, like to be naive from what we see with our naked eye and to what we hear with our naked ears. Like this isn't necessarily the realm. The realm that we see, which are with our eyes, is not the realm in which things are really happening. There's a story about like conquistadors that never saw a boat, and they went to the shore and they saw this like massive thing coming to shore. They didn't know what it was. They didn't identify what it was. We only know that that's a boat because we're told that it's a boat. Like I know that there's individuals out here, yourself, a lot of some other individuals that see things outside of what the naked eye can see. So
yeah, I it's not. It's like more for me. It's like I feel it inside of me. I hear it. I hear like messages, and then I just relay it. So I used to do that a lot. Like I did that for years. This is like the first year I've just transitioned into the news and applying my gifts into everyday current events because it's every day. It's a new day and it's new. You get sometimes old news, but you do get a lot of new news, and it's very entertaining. And my crowd is very small, so. But I've been told a lot to get back into the psychic stuff.
I think you should, man. I think you should. I think you'll be, like you got a lot of hits with the readings too, man.
Yeah, because I bought this device here and I have a bracket. You don't even see it, but I have another phone right here.
Oh wow!
And it's facing downwards. So I put this part of the show, and I could do readings, and they could see their cards. So it's not like I'm putting it out and then like not showing you what came out. Like I'm showing you exactly how the cards are coming out. I'm gonna be doing it. I'll be doing it.
Do it. And then relate it to what you enjoy. Terry said my mom told me about a spirit that was literally protecting my brother when he was a baby back in the early 70s. And she said when they moved out of that house, the spirit got really violent and angry.
Yeah, they do. I told Terry I know about that. They do come back with vengeance, and they do get very violent, and they do scratch. They'll pull your hair. They will like mess with you, like pull your like it happened to me. I'm talking about experience because I moved into his apartment in North Miami Beach in South Florida, and this apartment was really nice. It was a 1 bedroom, perfect, my size, nice big bedroom, big closets, nice little living room, cute little kitchen, and the bathroom and extra closet space. So I was like, this will work, it'll work out for me, bachelor. And I go to work. I mean, my job was literally like a mile away, like a mile and a half away. So it was great because I used to go on my bike to work.
Yeah.
And everything's great, right? Things started acting a little weird in that apartment from the day I moved in. I would hear the sound of bees in my closet. And I'm like, why am I hearing bees? Why it's very weird. So I come and I ask the landlord, hey, um, I've been hearing like some noise coming out of my closet and it sounds kind of like bees. He's like, for real? I was like, yeah. Can you please like check it out? He's like, yeah. I'm gonna go up in the ceiling and I'll look down and check the walls to see if I see anything. So he went up and checked, and he comes back. He's like, there's nothing there. I go, what? He's like, there's nothing there. I go, you gotta be kidding me. I heard like thousands of bees. It sounded like bees. He's like,
Yeah.
nothing. Come to find out a few months later that the person in the apartment below, because there was 3 apartments below, and the one that was in apartment 2 was doing sensoria voodoo, practicing voodoo and opening up portals, and energy was coming to my apartment, and I was very sensitive to energy, and the energy wanted to fuck around with me. And I remember one time I was doing my dishes, and I felt something pulling my shorts down, and I was like, "Whoa, wait, time out! Like, I'm not playing these games. Like,
Yeah.
no, you gotta stop. You gotta like, I'm not playing this stuff." And then the next day, like, I felt like I got attacked, and I got really sick, and I felt so bad. I took a shower to see if I would come out of it. Nothing. Like, I felt so bad. I called 911. They came. They got me. Took me into the hospital. Like an hour later, I was feeling great. And yeah, many times and it got to the point that I ended up breaking my lease and moving to Miramar, Florida, to get away from that apartment.
Wow.
It didn't follow me. I actually stayed in that apartment because the guy was doing rituals and he was doing Santeria, and he wasn't really cleaning after himself, I would say. And
Yeah.
left a lot of portals open and a lot of entities. I had my neighbor that was next to me. She's like, I can't take it. I go, wait, like I talked to her the day she was moving. She's like, Rick, shit, can't take it. It's like we see fucking spirits. We get pushed. I get my hair pulled. Like I can't take this shit. Like I'm leaving. And I was like, okay, so my neighbor, confirms it with me, and then my neighbor across, which is there was another building and there was an apartment there, and they told me, yeah, that guy down there, he does a lot of voodoo and a lot of sensoria, and yeah,
Wow.
yeah, pretty unique.
That's
But
wild.
I used to see spirits since I was a little kid, though. I seen spirits in New York when I was staying in the Bronx in my aunt's house, and I was staying at her place, and it was the first night we got there, and we had a good time, and I went off to sleep, and something woke me up out of my sleep. So, and then I needed to use the restroom, so I wake up and I'm walking to like the restroom. I look down the hall, and then I see a little boy standing outside in the fire escape, and he was wearing a white shirt, blue shorts, like a light blue shorts, and he was holding a ball, and he was asking me if I wanted to play with him. And then I told him that I needed to use the restroom. So then I went to the restroom and I used the restroom. Then when I was done, I came out, I looked to the right, and the boy was gone. So then I go back to sleep. So I go back to sleep. Then my mom wakes me up. She's like, "Hey, you gotta get up, brush your teeth." And we gotta get ready because we got things to do. It's like, and then I'm waking up, and then my mom's walking away. I'm like, Mom, hold on, I got like I was young. I was like 6, 7 years old, and I go, Mom, I gotta tell you something. It's like, what? I go, I saw something last night. It's like, what? I go, and then she's like, let's talk over here. So she takes me back to the room, and then my aunt was overhearing all this. So then I tell my mom, I saw something last night. She's like, what do you mean? I go, I don't know. Something woke me up out of my sleep. I got out of my bed and I looked, like I walked into the hall, down the hall, and I looked outside and I saw a little boy standing outside. He was wearing white with blue shorts and he had a ball, a white ball. It was like telling me if I wanted to play with him. And then I told him I had to use the bathroom. I used the bathroom. I come out. I looked to the right. The little boy wasn't there. So I went back to sleep. My aunt came running from the kitchen like neck breaking speed. And she comes into the room and I looked at my mom and I looked at her and she's like, what you said? I was like, Mom, it's like, no, go ahead, tell her. And then I told her what I experienced. And she's like, I made you breakfast. So go to the kitchen and you have your juice, you have, and enjoy the breakfast. It's nice. It's what you like. I was like, I went and I sat down to eat, but I was like overhearing what they were saying. And my aunt was like, oh my God, I was fucking going crazy. So like, why? Like, my mom was like, what? So like, that little boy that your son just saw is the same little boy that's been harassing me ever since we moved here.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
And my aunt was about to commit herself into a mental institute because she thought she was going crazy because of that little boy she was kept seeing harassing her.
Wow.
And then when I told that story to my aunt, my aunt and my mom, they both decided that I shouldn't stay there that night. So they sent me over to my other aunt, which is their other sister's house, which was my aunt. So she took me grocery shopping with her and she bought me a box of cereal. And I was so happy about that. It was my own cereal and nobody couldn't touch it, which was even more awesome, especially with a house full of kids. That night, I fall asleep. We get a ring on the phone around 3 in the morning. My aunt picks up the phone because she had the old school phones. That ring wakes up the whole fucking apartment type of phone, the
Yep.
rotary phone.
Yep.
So she picks up the phone. She's like, "Hello," and they're like, "Oh my God, you gotta come over here! Come over here now!" Like they're like, "What?" It's like, and I couldn't overhear it because she was on the phone. She's like, I'm getting ready. I'm going now. I'm going now. Hold on, I'm going right now." So she hangs up and she gets ready super quick. And I'm like, what happened? And she's like, no, don't worry. Go back to sleep. Go back to sleep. So she leaves. Come to find out as later in life that same apartment that they took me out of, well, I think the spirit got mad and burned down the apartment.
Wow.
Because the apartment was pretty much totaled and my family, majority of them ended up in the hospital, especially my sister. And yeah.
Wow.
And that spirit was really attached. It got attached to me and brought a ball. You know, what spirit comes and brings a ball to you?
Yeah.
That's that's just one story of a lot that I've gone through.
That's wild, man.
Yeah, man. It's and it's like seeing it. It's like reliving it, my PTSD from it, and then I see it clear as day, like a movie in my head. And then I see that little boy again. He was just like a white little boy, crew cut. He looked like he had like the Beatles haircut, but it was a white little boy, and he had like I would say like blonde hair, like brown, blondish hair, like more on the brown side.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, I would never that, man.
Wow.
All right, I know you got to get going.
Yep. All right, cool, man, dude. Thank you for this, man. Yeah, shout out to the chat, and then yeah, bro, I'll ping you later today, man. Thanks,
Awesome.
brother. All right, I'll catch you guys in a bit.
All right, Tyson, take care, man.
Thanks, man. Later.
Later. Yeah, Tyson has to get going because Tyson has things he has to do, which is school, some kind of classes he's taking. So it's good for him. He needs to figure it out. You know, he has his time. He has spent his time here, and he has to get going because I already know this. So I looked at the time and I was like, nah, he has to go. But thank you, Tyson, for coming through. Appreciate it so much. It's fun always having Tyson DeLacruz here with me. And damn, look at this big ass plane. That is so cool. I like that it came out like with the Tyson DeLacruz like highlighted there with a big ass "My Mind Over Your Matter." AI. I like AI to the point. It's a little dumb, very stupid, like very stupid. It's like AI right now is like a toddler still, and I think they do that on purpose, and they make you frustrated. Like by now, we should have a more smarter AI that's capable of doing more. And no, it's very difficult. It's like to make this shit. Yeah, patience. Come with a lot of patience because it's just not easy. But I got more videos for us to watch, and maybe you want to stick around. I appreciate it. Let me set this up for us to watch real quick, and let's get right back to the news because we've got more to cover.
This morning, stunning new footage appears to show the engine missing on the UPS cargo plane just as it crashes in Louisville, Kentucky. The plane is coming down.
Oh my God, look at the plane. Oh my God, look, it's clear. Oh my God, that's scary. Look at the UPS.
That engine later found on the runway.
Oh my God, they had no chance.
Multiple businesses. We've also learned the plane left behind a debris field about a half-mile long that includes nearly 300-foot long gash on the roof of a UPS warehouse. Let's go to CNN's Lee Waldman. She's in Louisville this morning. Lee, obviously, investigators are now on site trying to get all of the details. What are you learning?
Jessica, like you mentioned, they got on site here yesterday. So today will be their first full day conducting that step-by-step walkthrough of this massive debris field that's left behind from this devastating crash here. We know at this point they have recovered the black boxes from those planes. NTSB telling us that the boxes did suffer heat, but they're built to withstand that. They can still gather data from it. They're also asking people who live around here, who have surveillance cameras, to share those videos with them, calling those valuable assets. It's something they're going to be analyzing to try and determine a probable cause of what went wrong here. And we mentioned that video of what appears to show the engine off of that plane. The NTSB confirming that. And last night, as we were here, we saw part of that engine actually being hauled away on the back of a truck here. It's all part of this extensive investigative process that the NTSB is going through here. We're hoping to hear more from them today about this ongoing investigation, but there's also a very real impact to the community here. Businesses surrounding the Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport, including a business that had a lot of damage to it itself. The owner of that company, a recycling company,
That's
said it was like
crazy.
hell's fury here after that plane crashed.
Yeah, it's so
Take a listen to
scary.
some of the heroics by his employees that he described to our Isabel Rosales.
One of our managers dove in the center of between two bales and had a ball of fire go over the top of him, and then he got up and ran out, and he was very heroic because one of our customers was 95% burned, and he picked him up and brought him to safety.
Oh my God.
We've heard from hospital officials who say they have 2 people currently being treated for critical injuries because of burns. They've treated other people for blast injuries as a result of this crash. 12 people are dead as a result of it. They fear that number is going to continue to rise. And Jessica, something so heartbreaking here is that one of those victims is believed to be a young child.
Yeah, that is really terrible. All right, Lee Waldman for us with the latest out of Louisville. Thank you.
Mary, you're a former Inspector General of the U.S. Transportation Department. You know, for a layman, if I can call myself that, The idea of an engine falling off a wing is absolutely frightening, and the fact that they're looking at maintenance in relation to that. But he did earlier on, didn't he, this guy from the NTSB, talk about a fire on the wing and then the engine fell off. So could a fire have triggered the engine to fall off, or was it the engine falling off that was the problem?
Well, I think the engine falling off is always a problem. You know, it's I don't mean to be frightening people, but you know, engines do catch fire in flight. They have fire bottles on them. You know, and often they're able to extinguish the fire when the plane is in flight and there's a fire in the engine. Here, I think he pretty much confirmed that that engine fell off in the takeoff roll, and that is a rare event. Now, there have been accidents, and the NTSB will do this. The NTSB will go back through history at other accidents where this has occurred. One happened back in the late 70s. It was about 1979. And in that case, the plane had come out of maintenance, and they had taken the engines off the plane for maintenance, but they had not followed the manufacturer's guidance and rules and the procedures to do that. The pins that held the engine on were damaged, and just like here, the engine fell off on takeoff. And so they will go back and look at those prior incidents that happened to be a DC-10. This is an MD-11, a similar plane, but newer, more recent in manufacture, but they will do that. So it is an important confirmation that video showed that this engine came off, and that they have a pretty big team, 28 already, and they will be adding more, but one of those teams is maintenance. So already, since an engine did come off, you always have to look at maintenance. I mean, it's just a big issue because it is rare, much rarer than engine fires.
And can you explain, we're looking at these images, half a mile long.
Yeah, the engine just fucking came off.
This is the evidence they're having to deal with now, which is why there's so, you know, it's just extraordinary. Why so much fire? Because the engine, it was full of fuel?
I hope it's not DEI. That would be crazy.
38,000 gallons of fuel, weighs over 300,000 pounds, and that is a lot of fuel. And once this, it appears when the engine came off that the wing tank in the wing, where underneath the, near the engine, was breached, and that means that spewing fuel and fire as it travels down. And the NTSB did mention that there was a string of parts even before the big fireball. So this plane, this engine for sure was coming apart, and then once that wing tank is breached, you're literally spewing fire and fuel, and it's that is a lot of fuel. 38,000. Some people say 36,000 gallons of fuel, 300,000 pounds of burning fuel.
Crazy.
I mean, it's in some ways, it's almost lucky that it wasn't more than a half a mile. When I saw the
poor maintenance for sure.
It looked, huge and longer.
That's crazy. I would be scared to be a pilot for UPS right now.
Used to dealing with huge debris fields. They've scoured the ocean floor.
I'm scared for my plane.
Blew up in flight, and they scoured
We
the
have good
Atlantic
maintenance.
Ocean.
Fuck that.
The other investigators, not the U.S., but others scoured the South Indian Ocean. They walked miles and miles through Scotland fields looking for parts of Pan Am 103. They are used to this. And by the way, there's great computer programs and AI that help you log every part, every little piece that you find. You can log it right on the spot when you do it. So they will be assisted by computer technology.
Joining me now, CNN aviation analyst Miles O'Brien. Miles, what might cause an engine to fall off a jetliner right after takeoff?
Well, Anderson, it's almost inescapable.
Oh my God!
Maintenance records, and really, in this case, while it's good they found those
That's
black
wild.
boxes, the real evidence, the telltale on what happened is going to be in the wreckage itself. There will be pieces of metal that will tell a trained investigator and eyes that are used to looking at these things what exactly failed and how it failed. But engines are not supposed to fall off wings. And there's really no other way to consider this one except for the fact that
engine fell off.
Error occurred.
I mean, it's incredible to imagine that even a piece of metal from the engine would survive a blast like that with all the jet fuel and the fires we've seen.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of it was, because the heat of the fire, I'm sure some of it was lost. But, these investigators are pretty good at finding these key pieces that lead to understanding what exactly happened. You know, there's a strange echo here, Anderson. It's a long time ago, but in 1979, an American Airlines DC-10, which is the forebearer aircraft of the MD-11, almost the same design, taking off from Chicago O'Hare, and its left engine fell off, and all the people on board that aircraft, 273 of them, died. And it turned out in that case that the maintenance team was using an improper technique to attach the engine after they did work on it. So it'll be interesting to see where this goes. Clearly, the crew did not have a chance in this case at all. It wasn't weather, so we're going to be focusing pretty carefully here on maintenance.
Wow, that's crazy. Imagine maintenance, right? Let's keep the show going.
Well, air traffic at dozens of airports, including some local airports, will be cut by up to 10%. That's starting tomorrow. And that means thousands of flights across our country could be canceled in less than 24 hours.
This is all due to the government shutdown. ABC's Nicole D'Antonio joins us live from Washington with the latest this morning. Nicole, good morning.
Well, Tony, Rachel, good morning to both of you. Experts say that hundreds of thousands of Americans could see their flights canceled starting tomorrow. The Transportation Secretary warns that number will likely grow higher as the shutdown drags on.
Damn. That sucks.
This morning, the government shutdown reaching day 37 and putting a growing strain on air travel. The FAA reducing flight capacity by up to 10%, impacting thousands of domestic flights at nearly 40 major airports by this weekend. ABC News overnight exclusively obtaining the list of the 40 airports that will be affected, from Hartsfield-Jackson in Atlanta to LAX in Los Angeles, and from Miami to JFK in New York.
This is about where is the pressure and how do we alleviate the pressure?
It comes as air traffic controllers, officers, nearly 6 weeks without pay and are now increasing.
Damn, 6 weeks.
In the meantime, FAA employees warn the impacts on air safety could get worse the longer the shutdown drags on.
We wish to stay vigilant when we want to. And we
but they should be given a credit card or something, with a certain amount of money to get through these days. They shouldn't be struggling like this. This is bullshit.
Without not eating.
They should be given like $10,000 credit cards, and not be hit with penalties.
Overnight, United Airlines saying it will offer refunds to anyone who does not wish to fly while the flight reductions are in effect. Frontier CEO going further, making this recommendation. If your flight is canceled, your chances of being stranded are high. So I would simply have a backup ticket on another airline. On Capitol Hill, cuts to Medicaid and healthcare subsidies are still the major sticking point, with both sides refusing to budge. And sources say the FAA will begin cutting 4% of flights tomorrow. They will then ramp up to 10% of flights throughout this coming weekend. So, guys, we will continue to follow this very closely.
All right. Well, good for you. And let's continue.
The sole reason for the entire federal government being shut down now, the sole reason for all the American people suffering all this pain and hardship is because of the fear of political retribution from the far left activists who run the Democrat Party. That is the motivation for the shutdown.
So with that, we bring in Republican Senator Tommy Tuberville of Alabama, whose committees include Armed Services, Veterans Affairs, Agriculture, Health, Education, Labor, Pensions. All of those, of course, impacted by this shutdown. He's also running for governor in his home state. Senator, thank you very much for being here. Chad Berger is reporting that there is a new bill that is potentially in the works, that there could be work going into the weekend. What is the shape coming? Maybe some resolution is coming?
Well, in the last week or so, Martha, the Democrats have snuck around behind the scenes and worked with our leadership team, knowing that they want to get out of this themselves. Not all of them, but a few of them. And hopefully it would be enough to open up. But I think they really feel emboldened that they won a couple of blue state elections this past Tuesday. And I don't know whether the deal is still on the table. It's about 3 appropriation bills that we'd put in the CR, put a date in there, get it done, voted in, and possibly kick the can down the road to January. Here's the problem, Marcia. These people feel empowered on the Democratic side. They can't control President Trump. but they think they can control United States Senate. And that's the reason, as President Trump had us in the White House yesterday for breakfast, he said, if you don't bust the filibuster, we won't get anything else done. There's going to be more closures. So we got to make a decision on our side. I'm all for going to 51. Now, I was totally against it until I saw really how this place works. And I've been up here 5 years, and there's not going to be anything done if we don't do something about this filibuster, pass it up, and let's go and just kick the Democrats to the side and get something done for the American people. They are suffering.
Yeah, it's very interesting because I know that you were actively working to preserve the filibuster,
Right.
but now, as you just outlined for us, you've changed your mind on that. But it seems like roughly the same number of Republican senators are preserving the filibuster, including the Majority Leader John Thune, as you have Democrats on the other side who are not willing to vote for this CR. So is this going to become a battle over the filibuster and the CR in equal numbers, or do you think that you can actually persuade others to get rid of the filibuster, which the president clearly wants?
Yeah, I think it's not going to be the president changing Republicans' mind. It's going to be the American people. They're the ones suffering. My staff up here, they can't pay their child care bills. They can't pay their mortgages.
Beer.
It's very expensive living in Washington, D.C., as you
Their
well know.
beer.
So we are
He said
putting
beer.
American people in a situation
I ain't
where
paying for nobody's
they
beer.
can't afford to go through. Now, again, as I said, this is what, 35, 36 days. There's going to be another one coming, and it's going to shut down again. We got to make up our mind as Republicans. We're going to take advantage of President Trump and the House and run this country the way we should? Or are we going to let these crazy Democrats take over and decide what's going to happen in this country? Because they would run the country in the ground if you'd let them, but we're not going to let them. Hopefully we come to our senses.
So two things come to mind. Do you think that John Thune, Leader Thune, Senator, is persuadable on the filibuster?
Oh, I think that's up to him. I'm just speaking for myself. There's 53 of us. I think if President Trump really gets involved more and more like we did the other morning at breakfast, there's 4 or 5 that probably would just be holding out to the end. But again, the American people are going to make this decision. If they start protesting and going out and say, listen, we know the Democrats are not going to do this, but the American people need to understand we voted for President Trump. And so if the Senate and the House don't vote this in, we're going to run you out of office.
Yeah.
And so, and we're in a tough situation here, but we've got to make some tough decisions for the American people. We don't run this place for the Senate. We run it for the American people.
So it's just very interesting
Well, that's
because
true.
you see the rock and a hard place crowd on both sides, right? Who are not willing to give in. So if it turns out that Republicans end up approving on doing away with the filibuster, explain to our viewers what happens down the road when Democrats have a majority, or it goes back and forth and Democrats are back in power at some point. So then Republicans will have no control over this kind of issue on a continuing resolution either.
Yeah, well, that's a tough situation, but we've got the House and the Senate and the White House for 3 years. We can put this country back together. They almost run us underground with President Biden, and we actually had a little bit of power at one time. But I'm going to tell you, they will change it. If we don't change it, they will. I saw the writing on the wall back when they voted it down. Joe Manchin and Sinema stepped up and did the right thing at that time. So we need to get something done for the American people.
Very interesting. And you're right. The American people are getting more and more frustrated. They want to head where they're heading for Thanksgiving, and they want to do it safely. Senator Tuberville, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good to have you here, sir.
I mean, my thing is, okay, they want to take this beyond this week. You know, they want to do that because they want people to suffer, especially Thanksgiving. Imagine we have the government still closed during Thanksgiving. Like that's nonsense. Like these Democrats don't want to pay the bills. They're delinquents. You know, they don't want to pay. They don't want to get these bills paid, but they want to continue adding bills, and they want us to continue paying for their bullshit plans and their $1.5 trillion spending spree they want to do. Like, are you kidding me? Get the fuck out of here with that shit. Like, we could filibuster this shit, right? We could bring back the food stamps, but with restrictions on the food stamps. Like, you have to prove that you're American, you have to prove your disabledness, and you have to prove a lot. You have to give your proof. It's not going to be hard because you walk in the office, they'll look at you and they're like, okay, have a good day. That's it. You know, they'll know when they see you, they'll know how fucked up you are. And they'll be like, okay, yeah, it was nice seeing you. Continue having a good life. We're going through every single person to reevaluate everybody, and not really to reevaluate them, but to make sure they are who they say they are. Okay, because there's a lot of people that are getting food stamps and are getting a lot of these benefits, and they have fake like social security numbers, they have fake IDs, and they're corrupted the system with this bullshit. So they constantly getting food stamps and they're getting thousands upon thousands of dollars and cash too. It's ridiculous. And no, those days are over. We need to bring everybody in. Everyone gets evaluated, and then those, when you come in, they see you. They okay. We'll continue on with the process, and that's it. Here you go. Have a good day. That's it. It is a hard job because you gotta have to call in everybody into the office and everyone to get evaluated. You'll be given an appointment. You come in at this day at this time, and you just provide your information. Okay, that's it. What's the fear? You know what I mean? If you're truly disabled and you're truly fucked up, you got nothing to fear. I have nothing to fear because I am fucked up and I'm disabled. So it's like I sit in this chair. You don't see me doing cartwheels and running around in circles. I walk with a fucking cane. So I don't have good balance. My head is fucking pounding every night for the past fucking 7 nights. It's been just hitting me so hard in the middle of the night. I got into the point that I started recording myself sleeping and to document it and to show it to my doctors because how can I keep explaining and looking at their faces without showing them proof of what the fuck I'm going through and show them what it's happening to me when I'm getting these hits? And I have gotten their attention and they're expediting a lot of my appointments. So it beats going to the ER because ER is like for really, 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 really emergency. I think this is an emergency, right? It's like a really emergency, but it's not like I don't want to be in the ER for like 3 days or for a day and then have me admitted and then keep me there for weeks upon weeks. Because that's how happened to me before. And I've been in the hospital like a whole year. 2013, the whole 2013, I was in the hospital. And I didn't get out until January of 2014. So I don't even know shit of the world, out of the world for a whole year. I feel like I was in jail. I was fucking going stir crazy. I was going crazy. Like I needed to get the fuck out of that place. But the last time I went to the hospital and stuff like that, they kept me for 3 weeks. So I don't want to go in there and then they keep me there for like a week or two. It's like, it's like, no, I don't want to do that. So I'm going through the doctors and going through all the channels and getting all the stuff that I need to get done. Tomorrow morning, actually, got to go into the sleep study doctor and show the video to the doctor because the doctor wants to see the video. And then we're going to go from there. Trainer Truth is here. I don't think you guys can hear the train. I mean, sometimes the trains are really loud. Sometimes they have like that really loud horn. This one sounds like a baby horn. Motherfucker. Yeah. So let's continue on with the show because it's not all about me and my health, but it's about all of us, and we're all gonna suffer if we don't get this government open. And give me 1 second. We're gonna watch a video real quick. Bear with me while I go through this little thing here. Okay, let's continue watching. Let's see. Let's move it along here. Let's put on the sound. How about that?
The shutdown. It appears at this hour that the Senate may stay here in Washington through the weekend. It takes a lot to get them to do that, and it does tell us that lawmakers are discussing a deal to reopen the government. So, what could possibly have changed? Remember, this is the longest shutdown in history. It definitely could be the mass chaos, quote unquote, that Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy warns is coming to the nation's airports as millions of Americans prepare to travel for the holiday season. As soon as tomorrow, the FAA is going to start canceling flights at 40 of America's busiest airports. One source telling CNN that the Trump administration is weighing a proposal that would cut 4% of scheduled flights, and that for every day the shutdown drags on, they could increase those cancellations by an additional percent. United Airlines is preemptively canceling about 200 flights tomorrow, a similar rate of cancellations expected on Saturday and Sunday. Delta Airlines canceling about 170 of their Friday flights. The White House arguing that these cuts and the significant. Here was the Transportation Secretary, Sean Duffy, earlier today.
People have asked me, why don't you find money for air traffic controllers? Like, that's the purpose of a shutdown. I don't have access to money. I can't find dollars to pay them because the Congress said there is no money. And so we can't break the law. And so I can't pay them. I'd love to, but I can't. And so the message is sit down, figure this out, open the government up. And, let's not hold Americans hostage, especially when they want to travel.
So today, thousands of flight delays have been reported as the air traffic control towers go understaffed. The air traffic controllers have already missed one paycheck. Today, they received a second pay stub for $0. The president of the Air Traffic Controllers Union tells CNN that every day, some controllers are permanently quitting their jobs, while others say they simply can't afford to get themselves to work.
They're calling in saying, I don't have enough gas to get to work, to their employer, to their supervisor and manager, and saying, what do you want me to do? They're not calling in sick. They're not calling in protest. They're calling in with real life situations. These are real people dealing with real life circumstances. And when you don't pay somebody for 37 days and say, hey, just keep showing up and do your best, people are going to have issues, and they're mounting daily.
There you go. All right, let's get off the sidelines, head into the arena. My panel is here. We're going to get started with CNN Aviation.
Okay, I gotta pause it. I hate pausing when it's fucking CNN. So fuck you, CNN. Hi everyone. This is my Mind Over Your Matter. This is a courtesy response to CNN. Do you believe that traffic controllers just get paid minimum wage? You think they don't have money? You don't think they don't have credit cards that they could survive on? Are you fucking kidding me? I do that. I can survive because I could use my credit cards, use it this month so I don't have to worry about the fucking groceries or anything, and I'll pay that back when I get money and I pay it back. You know what I mean? I'm not going to stress, and people are just stressing out for no motherfucking reason. Like, there's ways around this. And you think air traffic controllers don't have good credit? Like, they wouldn't be in the position that they're in if they had bad credit. Like, they get monitored for everything. So they have to have, they're like top of the notch. These are government workers. Hello. They're like the really smart ones, the air traffic controllers. They're very, very fucking smart. They try to infiltrate him with the DEI, but that wasn't going well. They weren't doing well. And a lot of them are just not with the air tower controls because they can't handle it. These people got credit cards. They're not going hungry. They're not saying, oh, we don't got gas money. Are you kidding me? So you're going to tell me you're living check to check as an air traffic controller, which you're getting paid a lot of motherfucking money? Okay. I need to buy me a violin. This is the moment where I need to have a violin and I need to start playing it. I am going to buy me a violin this holiday season. I'm going to buy one. I don't care if it's a cheap one. I'm going to buy one and I'm going to play it. I need to play it because, listen, people are not struggling. People are still eating. There's still food in the grocery stores. Okay. Last time I just went to Walmart today. The parking lot, like normal, people in there shopping, people still going upon their life. I don't see much of a difference. The security wasn't even that crazy. Like there was like one person checking tickets, and I would just walk by with my bag, and they were like, "Have a good day." Like it was normal. So why the chaos? Why the shock and awe? And why everybody's like, "Oh my God, we're gonna die. We don't get our food stamps." No, bitch, I will survive. Hey, motherfuckers. I'm just saying, it makes me mad because they make them look like they're desperate and, oh my God, they're not getting any money. Oh, everybody starts screaming at the same time. The world is going to shit. Fear, 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 fear. That's what won the election. You know, everybody went to the Democrats and they voted a fucking socialist. They voted in Mandami. Like I know. Listen, they could have had a better option. Why Cuomo? Like why that dude? Out of all the choices that you can motherfucking pick, why him? Like all the smart people in New York, right? You got really good, top notch individuals in New York, and you're giving me an option of like these seniors against this young pup here, like, and then there one is he's so corrupt and he's so like he's like he tarnished the family name pretty much, and then the other guy, he's a cat lover. You know what I mean? The other guy has 17 cats. 17 motherfucking cats. Are you kidding me? We had a cat dude running as a Republican. That's our option. And we want to win New York. And you gave me a guy that has 17 cats? Shit, I have 2 cats. And sometimes I'm like, you girls are too much. You fucking vomit everywhere. You guys are like, thank you for like shitting in the litter box and everything. You're doing a good job on that. But they throw sand everywhere. You know? So imagine 17 motherfucking cats. Man, what is his fucking cat food bill? What is the medical bill on all those cats? Oh no. Thank God New York got saved and not gotten a cat man for mayor. You did save yourself on that one. We could have done a lot better getting a better candidate as a Republican to run against this dude, Zohan Madani. Man, it's sad because after January, I'm not going to New York. I'm not going to New York for 4 years. Well, I'll go to the state. I'll go to the upstate. I ain't going to New York City. Why? Like, for what? What calls me? Nothing. Let's keep it moving. Let's continue the show. Let's see what else we got here.
Travelers from Connecticut are bracing for a pretty messy weekend at some of the nation's busiest
airports.
Oh,
Connecticut.
Transportation leaders say they're cutting flights to keep the skies safe.
Air traffic controllers have now worked 37 days without a paycheck. Andrew Rowan covers transportation for us. He's live at Bradley International Airport in Windsor Locks. Andrew, if people are traveling, what do they need to know?
Well, Kevin, Amber, let me tell you right from the jump, Bradley and Tweed are not on this list of FAA cuts where they're cutting flights from airports. But a lot.
Yeah, Terry, you're part of the group that don't have the fortune.
Bradley is telling me to tell you, check your flight status in the app before you even leave home to come to the airport.
Wow.
Air travelers in the U.S. are expecting turbulence as the government shutdown forces the Federal Aviation Administration to cut 10% of flights at 40 airports.
I fly a lot, so I'm definitely keeping an eye on what's going on.
Bradley is not on the list of cuts from the FAA, but the concern for some travelers arriving to the airport is that they may be going to one of these destinations where there are FAA cuts. And the question is about the ripple effect.
I anticipate there'll be additional disruptions. There'll be frustration.
Where are you flying through?
I'm flying through Charlotte today.
Suzanne Pedergel is taking off to South Bend, Indiana to watch the Notre Dame Irish, but she's already thinking about her return flight.
I'm coming back on November 16th, and hopefully things will be ironed out with the government by then.
Two airline sources.
Girl, you better hope you better rent a car.
4% on Friday, moved to 5% on Saturday, before hitting 10% early next week.
In the end, our sole role is to make sure that we keep this airspace as safe as possible.
13,000 air traffic controllers and 50,000 TSA workers are about to miss their second paycheck.
And we are starting to see some evidence.
You should be able to get a
that
credit card,
fatigue is
Terry.
building in the system in ways that
I don't
we
know
feel
why you
we
don't.
need to work towards relieving some of that pressure.
Bradley Airport is now asking passengers to check their flight status online for any big changes before coming to the airport.
I'm really glad that we decided to fly today and not tomorrow, because that was part of my agenda at one time.
Damn, man.
The reality is nobody knows what this is going to look like once it goes into effect. The Bradley spokesperson called it a very fluid situation. Kevin and Amber, the best advice is just check that app repeatedly if you are flying this weekend. Back to you.
You can still get it, Terry. They have that can help with that, with lower 600, between 500 and 600. You can get a credit card. And it's not really as hard as you think. Let's see here. I got another story. See what this is about.
Public outrage after one of the suspects in an Alabama mass shooting last month was released on bond the day after his arrest. Jonathan Seri's tracking that, follows up in Atlanta. What's the facts here, Jonathan?
Yeah, Bill, Alabama residents are in shock over the October 4 mass shooting in their capital city. It happened shortly after the Morehouse-Tuskegee College football game. Police say rival groups fired at each other in Montgomery's crowded downtown nightlife district, killing a 43-year-old woman and
that's the problem. You tried multiple companies. You can't try too many companies.
On capital murder,
but you can fix that. I know. I've seen people who've done it worse than like under 500 and got a credit card.
He was charged with a serious violent felony that involved attempted murder. When you're charged with something along those lines, to my personal opinion, you constitute a threat to public safety, and you constitute a threat to the people around you.
May 2026, Alabama voters will decide
whether
to expand the list of non-bailable offenses to include attempted murder under
there's some
Anaya's
stuff on
law,
there that you
named
can take
after
off.
UFC heavyweight fighter Walt Harris's stepdaughter. Anaya Blanchard was abducted and murdered in 2019. Her alleged killer was out on bond for other violent crimes at the time. In the Montgomery shooting case, Javoric Whiting's attorney says he understands the frustration, but does not want to see bail eliminated altogether.
Big role.
You start just locking people up because they're charged with crimes, that's a slippery slope, because innocent people do get arrested. And a lot of these cases don't go to trial for 2 to 3 years.
And White says his client is required to wear an ankle monitor. He has to observe a curfew and remain on good behavior to avoid pretrial detention.
Bill? Well, that vote will be interesting when it comes around, too. Jonathan, thank you. Jonathan Seri in Atlanta.
I'm Steve Ducey.
Wow.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to.
We got a lot to go.
Also developing at noon, a deputy shooting early this morning near a Walmart in Southwest Miami-Dade. And we've since learned it has turned deadly. Local 10's Hannah Yushivi is live at the scene with the very latest. Hannah.
Ladies, Sheriff Rosie Cordero Stutz says early this morning around 7:15, a man was stealing items from this Walmart right here behind me, and a worker saw it. They called police officers, and actually a deputy from the Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office was right here at the Walmart. They got into a back and forth, and shots were fired. A busy and hectic morning for those who work and live near this Walmart supermarket on South Dixie Highway in southwest Miami-Dade. A deputy with the Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office was patrolling the area when he was alerted to a man stealing inside.
He was contacted by one of the loss prevention officers who was working and was advised of an individual who was actively stealing.
The sheriff says the man ran from the deputy. The deputy caught up to him, and the two got into a physical struggle just outside the store's doors.
During that physical altercation, the subject showed that he was in fact armed. There was our deputy did in fact discharge his service weapon. The subject fled and eventually collapsed on the street just outside.
First responders rushed the man to the hospital where he died from his injuries. From above, you can see where he collapsed after being shot.
This individual has an extensive criminal past.
And for workers here, shoplifting isn't new.
Oh yeah, a lot of people like in self
Run
checkout.
the show,
I mean,
it
personally,
costs
I
money.
had worked like as a cashier and self checkout and everything. A lot of people start and they get mad too when you tell them, oh, don't, you didn't pay this, you didn't pay that, and then they walk out.
And right now, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement is handling and leading this investigation. That's standard when a deputy fires his weapon. We also know from the sheriff that the deputy did not suffer any injuries. And we also know that customers and the workers here at Walmart were not hurt. We're live in Southwest Miami-Dade. Anna Yashidi, Local 10 News.
He took a good shot, hun. That's what you call a good shot. Listen, you do the crime. You either do the time, but if you're gonna raise a weapon at a law enforcement, well, you just signed your death wish right there. And congratulations, play stupid games. Now you got a stupid reward. Now you're gone to another dimension. All right, so let's continue on with the news.
Well, you saw Erica Kirk there speaking at her first Turning Point USA Tour appearance last week. It was part of that exclusive interview she did with
And I'll never forget him just being like, Charlie's been shot. He's been shot. Get the kids. Get security. Get the kids. Get the kids. He's been shot. We landed in Utah. Went straight to the
I
hospital.
don't know, man. I feel weird about her.
When you walked in,
I feel weird about the whole thing
everyone
because
was
I feel like it was just all a setup.
It was a scene from just a horror movie.
It's just all set up, I
Everyone
just
is
feel that weird energy,
so rattled to the core. I said,
and I don't trust her.
I want to see what they did to my
For some
husband,
reason, I just don't trust her.
and I want to give him a kiss because I didn't get to give him a kiss this morning. And I did. And I got to see him.
You know why
And
I say that? There's a lot of signs on her face that just tells me.
we walked into that room.
I mean, I would be crying I would be bawling out.
Vivek Ramaswamy, Republican candidate
I mean,
for governor of Ohio, who also
no
recently
tears
spoke
for me.
at a Turning Point USA
That's,
event at Montana
that's a
State
problem.
University. She went on to say, Vivek, and it's good to be with you. It's been a minute. She went on to say in that interview that when she saw Charlie Kirk, even in death, he had this smirk on his face, she described, as if to say to his assassin, you took my life, but you can't take my movement. And she is demonstrating, she's got to be dying inside every day, and yet she's demonstrating so much strength in picking up and carrying the
Yeah,
torch
I always
to the
do,
USA.
Terry. I feel the energy. I feel
That's
like
a beautiful thing to watch. Charlie was
it was
obviously
like
a very close friend of mine as well.
Charlie was
We
set
saw him
up.
just a couple weeks before he was assassinated, John, and his level of energy and positivity.
He knows.
It's what we need.
I know.
They may have killed his body. They will not kill his soul or the soul of the movement that he began. And the way we respect that legacy is by continuing that open dialogue.
I don't trust
Confronting
anybody from
peacefully,
TP
respectfully
USA.
even,
For
the
some
very
reason, I
people
just
who
don't.
disagree with us most, growing our coalition in a way that Charlie did.
It's
unlike
very,
very-
I don't
very few
know.
others in
It's just
history
the
amongst
energy
young
is very
people
weird
in
there.
American politics. And I so admire Erica for demonstrating the strength she has through this process, giving hope to many more millions of people around the world. But we all have our role to play and our work cut out for us. And I believe we're going to make Charlie proud.
You know, it's really interesting as we go through these Turning Point USA events that have grown bigger since Charlie's assassination, that the difference that's emerging here in various factions within Gen Z. You heard that one person in Madison Scarpino's fine report saying, I'm here at Auburn in the Turning Point USA event with like-minded people. I'm with my Auburn family, and now I'm with my TPUSA family. You have a growing number of Gen Zers, young voters, gravitating toward the conservative side of the political fence. And then up in New York City, you have all these Gen Zers who were embracing socialism. What do you make of that split?
Well, what I make of it, John, is it shouldn't be that surprising. Every generation has an obvious split amongst people who disagree with different points of view. I'm a millennial. There's millennials who are Republican, millennials who aren't. In your generation, it would be say the same thing. So in some sense, this is just the natural evolution of the American way of life. We don't all see the same issues the same way. That's what makes this country beautiful. And the beauty of our country is that we're able to exchange those ideas, to speak freely in the open without censorship, to go to a college campus and speak without fear of somebody putting a bullet in your neck. That's what it means to be American. And we live in this moment where we have to rediscover, embrace, and cherish that shared American national identity, especially those young people. What are they hungry for? It's a renewal of American purpose. I think we live in a moment in our history, John, where we would do well to have a shared national mission, a shared national purpose, that even as we disagree on these local or terrestrial issues, there's bigger things to accomplish. And I think that we live in one of those moments where, in my last conversation with Charlie Kirk, this is actually what we talked about. When he was here in Ohio, he said, what is the 21st century about? What happens after we make America great again? It's on to American victory. And that's what we want for the 21st century. That's what Charlie wanted. And that's the spirit we want to see infused in Gen Z, certainly for the conservatives, but frankly, even those who might vote differently. That's the spirit we want to bring back.
Well, it certainly is a lovely idea, but unfortunately, it would appear that the political divides are growing even deeper in this country. I want to get your thoughts on this, Vivek, if I could. Breaking news that we had this morning: the former Democratic House Speaker, Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi,
crazy bitch,
announced that at the age of 85, she is not going to seek re-election. She served nearly 40 years in Congress. Listen to her announcement here.
For decades, I've cherished the privilege of representing our magnificent city in the United States Congress. It was the faith that you had placed in me and the latitude that you have given me that enabled me to shatter the marble ceiling and be the first woman Speaker of the House, whose voice would certainly be heard. It was an historic moment for our country, and it was momentous for our community.
And of course, no love lost between Pelosi and President Trump, bitter rivals for years now. President Trump gave Fox this statement earlier today. The retirement of Nancy Pelosi is a great thing for America, he said. She was evil, corrupt, and only focused on bad things for our country. She was rapidly losing control of her party, and it was never coming back. I am very honored she impeached me twice and failed miserably twice. Nancy Pelosi is a highly overrated politician. Over the weekend, the former speaker with some brutal words of her own. Listen to this.
How can I say this? It'll sound like I'm awful about Trump because he's just a vile creature.
Vile creature
on the face of the earth. But anyway.
You think he's the worst thing on the face of the earth?
I do. Yeah, I do.
So what do you make of comments like that?
She's a weirdo.
The former speaker, particularly after the president.
I read the body language on
attempts,
Pelosi.
The political violence that we saw against Charlie Kirk and others.
She has a lot of skeletons in her closet.
I mean, look,
a lot of people are saying,
in a world with Hamas, in a world with terrorists who are around the world. You have to think about vile people. Vile people exist on the planet. To say the president of the United States is, whatever she said, the worst person on earth, it's just unconscionable. It's unacceptable. It's not what we need more of in our politics. And it's Nancy Pelosi's retirement day. Apparently, I just learned that from you. I'm going to show some restraint and say we wish her well in her retirement. But this is a good way to turn the page on a chapter in American politics, moving past a gerontocracy that, at least if we're running against other people in the Democratic Party, let it be people with fresh ideas with whom we're able to have an open debate on the ideas rather than this type of, what is vile is actually that kind of vile dialogue. So I'd be happy for one to turn the page on that, John. Wish her well in her retirement. And we're looking forward to a newer generation of more constructive politics after her retirement. That's where we got to go.
All right. Vivek Ramaswamy, good to catch up with you. As I pointed out at the beginning, it's been a little while. Good to see you again.
Hey, everyone. I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-host.
We say that every night here on My Mind Your Matter. We know Emily Campagno. very well. Let me see. We got a couple of more to watch, and then we'll be wrapping it up. I would stay to the end because I have a really good lineup. So let's continue on with the show. And I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more videos to watch, and let's be entertained.
New Haven's police chief and mayor tell us changes are coming downtown after 4 people were shot on Halloween night. This includes a young woman who was killed.
In fact, they did provide an update earlier today.
See, I was safe at home.
Reporter covering New
I
Haven
ain't
County.
going nowhere no
He's live
Halloween.
downtown.
Especially New Haven. Are you crazy?
Mark and Aaron, we're talking about additional officers on the bar detail, also enhanced traffic enforcement targeting stolen cars and guns. Now, New Haven's police chief says they are making progress. It's an active investigation. They're looking at the car cameras, a lot of cameras in the downtown area, trying to identify potential cars involved in the shooting. So while you'll see extra officers here this weekend, city says they're also looking to see if they can go after regulations when it comes to those 18 and over clubs.
You can just feel
18 and over. We still have that shit.
And just a few hours after this video, 2 groups started shooting at each other in downtown New Haven. 4 people hit, including 2 women caught in the crossfire, with 18-year-old Alexa Acevedo of Norwich dying from her injuries.
After the first initial shots, that's when we saw all the lights and everyone was super scared and anxious.
Quinn Mathers was one of the thousands out celebrating Halloween night, coming across the scene while heading home.
It was just chaotic.
This shooting marks the 2nd year in a row shots rang out on Halloween. The gunfire on Church and Center taking place in the same neighborhood. After planning and putting resources in place, Police Chief Carl Jacobson says it's frustrating to see it happen again.
My own daughter was downtown until 12:30 that night.
Fuck that.
So this is something that's personal to all of us.
I go to IKEA, and then
so
I'll go
we're going to
to
continue to work hard and continue to get this right.
This weekend, police will set up posts downtown along with roving officers who can respond to incidents going forward on big nights like the Wednesday before Thanksgiving and New Year's Eve. The chief says they'll call in officers like they do for major events like the road race and parades. They're also enlisting the help of the Connecticut State Police Violent Crime Task Force and the Regional Stolen Car Task Force.
We see people coming into the area, going to younger establishments, 18 and over establishments, and then getting in fights afterwards, leading to gunfire.
And they come from
And the city says that's something that needs to be addressed.
We're looking into what the state statute allows us to do
what died on his head?
Increase the regulation on the 18 to
21-year-old
parties that we see at some of the clubs, because clearly that's a driver of a lot of people coming from out of town.
God, that hair. I'm distracted.
And the shooting remains under investigation. Anyone with information is asked to give New Haven Police a call. Your reporter.
Okay, like let me pause this here for a second, and I want to go back to the hair. I was just like I wanted to take a closer, in-depth look at it. I mean, you got gray here, a lot of gray on the side, but what is this? What is this? Man, like, if you're gonna dye your hair, dye everything. I mean, you would look younger if you did, but man, this haircut, who do you think you are, Justin Bieber? I mean, my God, it looks bad. I'm sorry. I'm just helping you. I'm trying to help you, Mayor. Like, listen, you're not far from where I'm at. I can help you. Dye your hair. That would be very helpful for everyone. Just dye it. All right, let's see what we got here. Let's keep it moving.
We've got a big update, a huge update on our favorite interstellar object. It could be the biggest update in the solar system. Take a look at this. This is 3I Atlas. You know how the last time we talked about it went behind the sun, then it got brighter, then it got bluer, then it started to go faster.
It's like a wave.
Well, guess what?
That's why I said it looked like something died on
some more
his head.
strangeness to the 3I Atlas saga, because, like, I don't want to overhype this, But yeah, you see, that's a comet. It does not have a very big, very noticeable cometary tail. That's what we were thinking we were going to see. So let's get straight over to Harvard astronomer, Professor Avi Loeb, the world-renowned expert on all these things, all things interstellar. Professor, the last time we spoke, which was like the day before yesterday, you were saying that when it went behind the sun, the natural explanation for the non-gravitational acceleration in the thrust might be because it burned off a bunch of chemicals or something, and that was giving it the thrust to the tune of like 13%, and we would see a humongous tail maybe. What is going on?
Yeah, that's very surprising because there should have been a very massive cloud of gas and dust around it based on what we know about comets. In fact, we see other comets in the solar system that have a beautiful tail away from the sun behind them. Lemon is an excellent example. But in our case of 3i Atlas, it looks like a fuzzy ball of light. Even after it passed through perihelion, it was heated by 770 watts per square meter. And we know that the previous plume of gas was mostly carbon dioxide, and carbon dioxide ices can sublimate at a much lower temperature than water ice. So we should have seen it break up, or at the very least disintegrate to a very dense and massive cloud of gas and dust that is pushed away from the sun by the solar radiation and the solar wind. But we don't see that. So the question is, what's going on? One possibility is that what evaporates from it are fragments of ice, and they get vaporized by sunlight before they have a chance to turn around and show up as a plume of glow behind it, away from the sun. That's one possible interpretation, but otherwise I just don't know what to make of it. There was also a blue color that was noticed just a few days ago, and also in addition to that, it became brighter by a factor of 5. So what I'm saying is, there are things we don't fully understand about this object. That's what makes it exciting, and I think all of us will wait for the data that will come in the coming weeks, and especially on December 19th, when it comes closest to Earth. That's 6 days before
that day
Christmas, and let's hope
whenever
we don't
it slows down and comes
gifts for
straight
our
to
holidays.
Earth.
Or at least maybe
everyone
those
will
gifts
freak
will
out.
be nice and friendly
Everybody
and
will get on
wonderful
their
and
hands
help
and
us
knees.
figure the universe out. We'll
Yeah,
see.
start praying at the
You do
same
not
time.
seem surprised here. I know that we've been asking you about this, and we were all expecting to see a tail, and we asked you for a natural, plausible explanation. You gave us that one, and now we're seeing no tail. Like, what do you think it is?
I don't know. I think, it's like a blind date with an interstellar object that came from an environment that is alien to us. And I think the key question is whether it's natural or technological. The secondary question, if it's natural, what kind of an environment did it come from? It must be a common environment that produces large packages delivered to our mailbox, and we just need to find out the sender. Either way, it's thrilling, and it's really the reason why science is worthwhile doing, because we can gain new knowledge, and that goes against the tendency of experts to pretend to be the adults in the room that know the answer in advance. Well, guess what? This object is telling the experts, think twice.
Well, unlike 3i Atlas, this tale is far from over, and we will be dialing you up every twist and turn. Avi Loeb, always a pleasure to see you and to talk to you, and we can't wait to see what happens next. Thanks so very much.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and
Stop that. Let's continue on with Jason A.
Christianity is facing an existential threat in Nigeria. Thousands and thousands of Christians are being killed. Radical Islamists are responsible for this mass slaughter. I am hereby making Nigeria a country of particular concern. That's a legal definition. When the Christians or any such group is slaughtered, like is happening in Nigeria, 3,100 versus 4,476 worldwide. What horrible numbers. Something has to be done. I am asking Congressman Riley Moore, together with Chairman Tom Cole and the House Appropriations Committee, to immediately look into this matter and to report back to me. And I mean, like, immediately. The United States cannot stand by while such atrocities are happening in Nigeria and numerous other countries. It's not only Nigeria, it's all over. We stand ready, willing, and able to save our great Christian population around the world. This is not going to happen. The killing of Christians is not going to happen.
President Trump tonight is threatening to take action against Nigeria for what he says is the persecution and killing of Christians. In a post on Truth Social, the president said he has ordered the Pentagon to begin planning for a possible military action. Trump warned he will also, quote, immediately stop all aid and assistance to Nigeria. Nigeria's president says his country is not religiously intolerant.
He posted in part, quote, the USA will immediately stop all aid and assistance to Nigeria and may very well go into that now disgraced country guns a-blazing to completely wipe out the Islamic terrorists who are committing these horrible atrocities.
President Trump fighting against religious persecution around the world, ordering the Department of War to prepare for potential military action on the ground in Nigeria, and threatening to cut off aid to the African country if they don't do more to protect Christians from jihadists, as the State Department redesignates Nigeria as a, quote, country of particular concern. This designation was removed in the Biden administration. Watch.
If the Nigerian government continues to allow the killing of Christians, the United States will immediately stop all aid and assistance to Nigeria and may take action to wipe out the Islamic terrorists who are committing these horrible atrocities, especially against innocent women and children. I don't have any further announcements on that for you today, but I can assure you the President of the United States is watching this situation unfold very closely, as is our Secretary of State, Marco Rubio.
So more than 7,000 Christians have been killed this year.
Wow.
19,000 churches have been targeted or destroyed since 2009, and over 125,000 Christians have been killed in the same period, according to the International Society for Civil Liberties and the Rule of Law, who keep track of these killings, even though they so largely go under the radar of news coverage.
Threatening potential action, military action against the biggest country on the continent. And then Sunday really taking even more of a turn, because the president apparently got a question from a reporter and reiterated that same rhetoric, asking whether or not it would be airstrikes or ground troops. And he said it could be, I envisage a lot of things. And as you can see there, that is part of what he was saying over the weekend. Now, as you can imagine, this has caused quite a bit of concern, swift responses, including from that President Bola Tinubu, as you were just mentioning there. He actually put quite a lengthy post on X over the weekend that reads in part, the characterization of Nigeria as religiously intolerant does not reflect our national reality, nor does it take into consideration the consistent and sincere efforts of the government to safeguard freedom of religion and beliefs for all Nigerians. Now, I think it's important we give a bit of context here, because, yes, the country has been dealing with quite a bit of violence and Islamic insurgency in the north from Boko Haram, and also from another group known as the Islamic State West Africa Province, dating back to at least 2009. But this is a country of more than 230 million people. It's split by most estimates between Muslims and Christians. And many of the officials that we've spoken to and that have commented on this have said there is not any evidence of particular targeting based on religion. And in fact, the targeting is of all Nigerians, in fact. And what we have seen from President Bola Tinubu over the past few years since he's been in office.
Most people are not aware of this. I think the awareness is growing in recent days and months over this, with President Trump's recognition of it. What do you say to the Biden administration, or to those who say, this isn't what's happening? It's really a dispute over land in Nigeria. It's not religiously based.
Well, thank you, Martha. You're absolutely right. This has gone under the radar for too long. And thanks to our president, he's brought attention to this issue. As the president has said, Christians are facing an existential crisis in Nigeria. They're literally being slaughtered by the thousands, sometimes hundreds per day. And this is being done by radical Islamic extremists. and they are responsible for this slaughter. And thanks to the president, he has stepped up. He has said he is ready and willing to act. The United States will not stand by and watch the slaughter of thousands of Christians in this country. And the Nigerian government has a responsibility to protect its citizens. And thanks to the United States, we recognize that religious freedom is a cornerstone of human dignity, and this is a foundational element of our foreign policy.
All right, so that brings me to my next question, because we give a lot of aid to Nigeria, $550 million in U.S. aid in 2025. And then there's another possible approval of $346 million in weapons going to Nigeria. So is this money, this aid, contingent on any country that it goes to upholding basic American values or risking losing that money?
Well, you're right. This is exactly why this designation is so important and why the president made this decision, is that because they have now been designated a country of particular concern, foreign assistance, weapons, all sorts of support, sanctions, everything is on the table, including military action, as the president has said. But this is not an effort to try to isolate or threaten the Nigerian regime. This is an effort to call them to their responsibility that they have to their citizens, to protect people of faith, to protect religious minorities. This includes Muslims, by the way. There are peaceful Muslims in this country as well. But these Islamic extremists are weaponizing religion to justify terror, and it needs to stop right now.
Where propaganda has lost an appeal. And this is actually the time, because whatever is happening in Nigeria at this moment, I would say that Nigeria is the worst place to be as a Christian, like the worst place in the whole of the world to be as a Christian, because we wake up every day with news of killings. Every day with news of massacring of Christians. It's totally a genocide that is happening here in Nigeria. There is nothing anybody will tell me, because I have been in here for as long as I know. I've been in these places where these attacks have taken place. I've seen women who are crying for the loss of their husbands. I've seen children who are crying for the loss of their parents. I've seen parents who are crying for the loss of their children. I've been to churches that have been burnt down. These are not things that I've heard from the news or someone telling me. This is something that I witnessed somewhere. I've been myself. I've witnessed where terrorism is at the highest point, where people are killed and slaughtered like chickens every day.
Paul, I don't have a lot of time left, but I just want to ask you one last question. How have you and other Christians kept the faith during this persecution?
We are grateful for the organization I work with, Irish Global, who have taken it upon themselves to care for these persecuted Christians by providing relief materials, emergency kits, and then also providing them with discipleship, where they are being told that despite all that is happening to them, Christ still loves them.
Well, the Pope spoke out this summer, specifically when there was a large massacre where several hundred were killed in a single day. He called for prayers. He prayed for them. And when the Pope speaks, as you know, the world listens. And that compassion means something. I think the Vatican has sought to kind of reduce tensions here, to try to turn down the temperature. They have pointed out that this has multiple causes. There's economic, there's fights over land, there's corruption. But there is no mistaking that Christians are being targeted because of their beliefs. And the Vatican cares deeply about religious freedom as well. There's not a meeting that I am in where the question of religious freedom is not raised here in Rome, whether it's in the Middle East, whether it's in Europe, Central, South America. This is a very significant issue for the Vatican and the United States.
Thank you, Jason A., for another beautiful upload, man. It's just... we're living in very, very, very unique times, like super unique times. The Train of Truth is here. I'm telling you, perfect timing, Train of Truth. Okay, so we got a back-to-back on Tyson DeLacruz, and then I'm going to be wrapping it up because it's already getting late, and I would like to get to bed early. So without further ado, thank you, Tyson, for coming here earlier today. It was really cool of you, and I really enjoyed Thursdays. The Train of Truth is louder. It is the truth, and I'm looking forward for another week. Next Thursday, 7:30, me and Tyson here live. It's I believe the only one on YouTube that has Tyson live, which is pretty cool. Not many people come, so I enjoy the peaceful quietness, but it's not gonna be like that for long. But let's go ahead and watch some Tyson, man. Let's have some fun.
Since Operation Midway Blitz began, federal agents, alongside partners like the Indiana State Police, have arrested 223 illegal immigrants on the road.
America, we just got some bombshell news that's going to blow your mind. The Trump administration just arrested 223 illegal aliens driving trucks on our highways. And 46 of them were behind the wheel of 18-wheelers. But here's what's really shocking. These drivers can't even speak English, don't know our traffic laws, and got their commercial driver's license from sanctuary states that handed them out like candy. This isn't just about immigration. This is about your family's safety every time you get on the highway.
That's crazy.
Tale of two towns separated by a state border and about 30 miles worth of highway. In Sanctuary City, Chicago, the center of Operation Midway Blitz, it's an incredibly hostile environment for DHS officials within the Trump administration. Perhaps that's the reason why DHS Secretary Kristi Noem decided to land right here in Gary, Indiana, to flaunt the latest arrest numbers and also highlight the cooperation she's receiving right here in this red state.
What is up, guys? Tyson DeLacruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. This story perfectly shows why we needed Trump back in office. While Democrats were busy creating sanctuary policies that put American lives at risk, illegal aliens were literally driving death machines on roads with zero oversight. Let me break down these staggering numbers for you. Operation Midway Blitz, led by DHS Secretary Kristi Noem.
223 illegal aliens have been arrested and taken off of our roads. Of those, 146 of them were drivers. That includes 46 semi-truck drivers and another 82 of them that were either box trucks, buses, moving vans, vehicles such as that.
Both local and state law enforcement have been working alongside ICE to make these arrests.
Think about that for a second. That's 46 massive 18-wheelers being operated by people who shouldn't even be in our country, let alone controlling 80,000-pound death machines on our highways where kids are traveling to school. But here's where it gets really infuriating. Secretary Noem revealed that many of these illegal drivers got their CDLs from sanctuary states like, you guessed it, California, Illinois, and New York. These states are literally handing out commercial driver's license to people who can't even speak English and don't understand our traffic laws.
And you see from what we've got on the screen, literally twice, just months apart, arrested for DUI, yet the local authorities, because of the sanctuary policies, didn't feel the either ability or need to try and remove this individual from the country.
This operation was named after Katie Abraham, a young woman who was killed by a hit and run by a drunk illegal alien driver. How many more Katie Abrahams have to die before Democrats admit that their sanctuary policies are killing Americans? Here's what really gets me fired up about this story. These aren't isolated incidents. This is a systematic failure created by Democrat policies.
Noem, flanked by Indiana Governor Mike Braun and acting ICE Director Todd Lyons, spoke about the latest emphasis of getting commercial drivers with undocumented immigration status off the road. She says they often don't speak English, don't know the rules of the road, and are getting their driver's licenses in sanctuary states that aren't fully vetting their status and ability.
Let me paint the picture for you what's happening on our roads. You've got drivers who can't speak English or read road signs, can't communicate with law enforcement during traffic stops, and don't understand basic traffic laws. But they're operating vehicles that could weigh up to 80,000 pounds and travel at highway speeds. The Trump administration found that at least 12 of these arrested drivers had criminal histories, including DWIs, drug dealing, theft, burglary, assault, child abuse, domestic battery, prostitution, and fraud. So not only are they here illegally and driving illegally, they're also criminals with extensive rap sheets.
There has not been a driver shortage, Lawrence. There is a lack of pay
versus the lifestyle that our drivers have to deal with out there.
This video perfectly illustrates the problem. An illegal driver pulled over in Arkansas who literally can't understand basic English commands from a police officer. This person is operating a commercial vehicle on American highways. He can't even communicate with law enforcement during a traffic stop.
Why did you park here? No, no good. Is there anybody else in the truck? Is there anybody else in the truck? My company. Your company. Okay, you don't understand English.
Secretary Noem didn't slice up any words about the deadly consequences of this crisis. She highlighted recent examples that should make every American's blood boil, like the massive pileup in California caused by an illegal driver alleged to be under the influence, and a deadly illegal U-turn in Florida that killed 3 people.
Unnecessary, outrageous consequence of the Biden border crisis.
But this problem goes way deeper than just individual accidents. According to the American Truckers United, this crisis was exploited over the last 5 years with something called non-domicile CDLs and border crossing cards being abused to get illegal aliens behind the wheel of commercial vehicles.
And in what's known as a non-domicile, the proliferation of a non-domiciled CDL, and also what's known as a B1, B2 border crossing card. And so, there's been an effort across the industry to reduce standards to solve a so-called driver shortage.
Here's what's really sick about this. American truck drivers have been complaining about this foreign invasion of their industry for years, and nobody listened. These are good, hardworking Americans who follow the rules, speak English, and know how to operate these vehicles safely. But they're being undercut by illegal aliens who work for pennies on the dollar and create massive safety risks. The trucking experts revealed something that should outrage every American. Most of these illegal drivers aren't working for established American trucking companies. They're working for flight-by-night operations created specifically to exploit this loophole, often based in sanctuary jurisdictions where they get protection from local authorities. This is where you see the difference between real leadership and the Biden administration's complete failure. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy announced that they're going after what he calls CDL mills, operations that issue license without proper vetting.
We are diving into the companies that hire these drivers that may not have a license, that may not have a lawfully issued license, or do not speak the language.
Secretary Noem made it crystal clear that this administration isn't playing games. Her message to illegal drivers was direct and powerful, saying, your days are numbered. If you're here illegally and endangering American citizens on our highways, you're going to be arrested and you're going to get deported. This operation is being conducted in partnership with state authorities like Indiana State Police, showing how effective federal-state cooperation can be when you have leadership that actually wants to enforce our laws. Governor Mike Braun of Indiana has been fully supportive, unlike sanctuary state governors who actively obstruct immigration enforcement. But Operation Midway Blitz isn't just about truckers. It's part of a comprehensive immigration enforcement strategy that's targeting illegal immigrants wherever they're found. The operation has expanded beyond highways, including airports and transportation hubs. Let me be clear about what this really means for American families. Every time that you get on the highway, there's a chance that you can encounter one of these illegal drivers who can't read road signs, can't speak English, doesn't understand basic traffic laws, can't communicate with emergency responders if there's an accident.
Too many families across this country have felt pain and been victimized and lost loved ones because of these illegal drivers. Every single time one of these individuals gets behind the truck, on the wheel of a truck, they are in front of a deadly weapon that can kill other Americans as well. If you are here driving on our streets illegally and our highways, you are endangering our citizens and your days are numbered.
What makes this more infuriating is that Border Patrol agents are now facing 8,000% increase in death threats for doing their job. Democrats and their media allies have created such a hostile environment for law enforcement that agents and their families are being threatened just for enforcing the law. But here's what gives me hope. Agents aren't deterred. They know that they're protecting American families and they're going to keep doing their job regardless of political pressure and personal threats. America, this is what real immigration enforcement looks like. After 4 years of the Biden administration's open open border policies that put illegal immigrants ahead of American citizens. We finally have an administration that prioritizes your safety over political correctness. Operation Midway Blitz has removed 223. Let me repeat that. 223 dangerous illegal drivers from our
Damn, that's a
highways,
lot of
including
people.
dozens operating massive commercial vehicles. These aren't just statistics. These are potential tragedies
They need to
prevented,
go to
American
Connecticut,
lives
too.
saved, and families protected. The
One of
contrast
them
couldn't
trying to
be
ride me off
clearer.
the
Democrat
road
sanctuary states hand out commercial
a few months
driver's
back.
license to people who can't even speak English and don't know our laws. Republican states like Indiana partner with federal authorities and get these dangerous illegals off the road. Secretary Noem's message was simple but very, very powerful. If you're here illegally and endangering American citizens, your days are numbered. That's the kind of leadership we need to protect our families and restore the rule of law. This operation proves when we have leadership with the courage to enforce our immigration law, we can make America safer. But it requires all of us to support these efforts and demand accountability from politicians who put illegal ahead of American citizens. Let me know what you think about this. Drop it down in the comments section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.
Thank you, Tyson DeLacruz. Great episode. Man, that's a lot of illegals got arrested. 223? I mean, it could be more because there's a lot more, especially up here in the Northeast. Oh my God. Like up here in the Northeast, man, they'll have a field day. One of those fucking 18-wheelers almost ran me off the motherfucking road. The guy must have been drunk because he was swerving all over the motherfucking place. Unless he was having a stroke or a seizure or some kind of like heart attack, that motherfucker was drunk as a motherfucker and he was just swerving all over the place. Almost hit me a few times. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? Like, I had to like fucking floor it and get away from him. I was like, damn, man. And I had a place to go to, so, you know, I couldn't really, like, call 911 and report it. He's like, listen, I got a fucking 18-wheeler that's fucking taking, like, 3 lanes, swerving back and forth. I don't know if he's having a medical episode or some kind of condition. I wasn't going to do all that because I had some place to go, and my exit was right there. And I was like, fuck that shit. Let somebody else deal with it. You know? I had plans. I'm sorry. I wasn't going to break my plans. But, yeah, I'm not a good Samaritan. No, not for that. The motherfucker almost hit me. He's lucky. Man, please. I didn't want to get into that mess. I was like, I sped away from him. I was like, I'm done. I'm out of here. Fuck this shit. I'm out. All right. Well, we got the last episode of Tyson. But it's all good. I'll be back on here tomorrow at 7:30 again for another show. So, and it'll be just me, my mind over your matter. And we'll go over through some news and see what's up. And yeah, let's go ahead and watch this last episode of Tyson DeLacruz. The volume.
To a daycare and attempted to barricade themselves inside the daycare.
They lie. America, we just witnessed the most pathetic display of liberal privilege that we've ever seen. ICE agents arrested an illegal immigrant who fled into a daycare to avoid deportation. And now privileged white liberals, most of them, are holding candlelight vigils for a criminal who was literally using their children as human shields. But here's what's really sick. These people are calling this the most traumatic thing that they've ever experienced. If watching somebody get arrested for breaking the law is the worst thing that you've ever seen, you have lived the most sheltered, privileged life imaginable.
It's a scene that I don't think any of us have ever witnessed before and will ever forget.
Horrifying. This is a nightmare. This is a nightmare. This is surreal.
What is up, guys? Tyson DeLacruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. The legacy media is trying to spin this as ICE terrorizing children. But the truth is, an illegal immigrant criminal fled into a school to avoid consequences for breaking our laws. And liberals are more upset about law enforcement than they are about having a criminal watching their kids. Let me break down what legacy media is telling you versus what actually happened. According to CBS, CNN, and the rest of the propaganda machine, ICE agents targeted a daycare and terrorized children by arresting an innocent teacher.
Joe and Erica, parents tell me they're horrified, traumatized, and struggling to find the right words to explain to their kids what happened here this morning.
But here's what really happened. According to the official ICE statement, officers attempted to conduct a targeted traffic stop of a female illegal alien from Colombia. When they tried to pull her over with sirens and emergency lights, the male driver refused to stop. They pursued the vehicle until the suspect sped into a shopping plaza, abandoned the car, ran into a daycare where they attempted to barricade themselves inside. This wasn't ICE targeting a daycare. This was a criminal fleeing into a school and recklessly endangering children to avoid arrest. The illegal was arrested in Vista Blue, not a classroom, and she lied about her identity when caught.
Today I thought was going to be like any other, but upon pulling up, you just see chaos.
It's not a
daycare
was anything
teacher.
but routine for a dad like Adam Gonzalez.
You know, a lot of things go through your head before you go to, oh my God, ICE is here to take someone away.
The vehicle was registered in her name, but she claims she didn't know the man driving the car and just picked him up from a bus stop. Does that sound believable to anyone with half a brain? Now let me tell you about these traumatized parents who are acting like they witnessed a war crime. Listen to what these sheltered, privileged liberals are saying about watching somebody get arrested.
The children were crying, the parents were crying. It's a scene that I don't think any of us have ever witnessed before and will ever forget.
Really? This is the most traumatic thing you've ever experienced? Watching law enforcement arrest somebody who broke the law?
Horrifying. This is a nightmare. This is a nightmare. This is surreal. The fact that the federal government is coming after our daycare workers. Our daycare workers, nobody's being harmed here. The only people being harmed here is
It wasn't a worker. It's the person that ran into the place.
Who's being terrorized here right now.
Listen to this dramatic nonsense. This is horrifying. This is a nightmare. This is surreal. You know what's a real nightmare? Having your child killed by an illegal alien driver. You know what's truly horrifying? Having your daughter taken by an illegal alien who was released by sanctuary city policies. But these privileged liberals think watching somebody get arrested is the worst thing that ever happened to them. That tells you everything you need to know about how sheltered and out of touch these people are. Now let me tell you about this quote unquote innocent teacher that these liberals are holding candlelight vigils for. According to DHS, this woman crossed the U.S.-Mexico border illegally in 2023 and was issued a work permit based on a pending asylum application.
This is not the worst of the worst. These are teachers. These are people who care.
So he's not a teacher.
Parts of our community.
He ran into the punishment.
Worst of the worst. These are teachers. These are people who care.
Really? People who care don't flee from police and barricade themselves in schools with children present. People who care don't use kids as human shields to avoid consequences for breaking the law. This woman had every opportunity to handle her immigration case properly. Instead, she chose to run from law enforcement and endanger children. But these delusional parents think that she's some kind of hero because she worked at their precious
the media
daycare.
is not
We have
helping.
new reaction after a teacher from a Northside daycare was pulled from the building by
It's not even
federal
a teacher,
agents.
so they're
The
that's
residents turned out tonight to
it's a
speak
lie.
out against it. WGN's Emmy Victor was at the meeting and joins us now with more.
That's
Emmy.
false information right there.
Well, Dana, things are a lot quieter now than they were about an hour or two
Yes,
ago.
they're not
Earlier
doing their
tonight,
reporting.
this area was packed with people who came out for a meeting centered around keeping ICE out of schools.
Look at this community response. They're treating this criminal like she's some kind of martyr. They're more concerned about protecting somebody who broke our laws than they are about the fact that they had an illegal alien watching their kids. Here's where the story gets absolutely insane. These liberals are so backwards in their thinking that they're holding candlelight vigils for somebody who committed multiple crimes and endangered their own children.
I don't know how you tell a child that a teacher that they love was taken away.
But it's not a teacher, you
but all I
stupid
know is
idiot.
if you have a kid, hug them.
Listen to this parent. I don't know how to tell a child a teacher they love was taken away. Here's a crazy idea. Tell them the truth. Tell them that the teacher broke the law by entering our country illegally, then broke more laws by fleeing police and using their school as a hideout. But these people can't handle the truth because it conflicts with their delusional worldview where illegal aliens are always criminals and law enforcement is always wrong.
Department of Homeland Security issuing their response after agents arrested a teacher early this morning inside a daycare center. Parents and community activists demanding her immediate release.
They're calling this woman a daycare teacher like she's some kind of saint, but she's literally a criminal who was in our country illegally and fled from law enforcement. Maybe it's time for these parents to switch schools and find one that actually vets their employees. What really exposes these people's privilege is their complete inability to understand why law enforcement exists. They live in such a bubble that they think ICE agents are the bad guys for doing their jobs.
Some of the most chilling video footage I have ever seen, certainly in my time in office.
The alderman says this is some of the most chilling video footage he's ever seen. Really? A routine arrest is the most chilling thing that you ever witnessed? You've never seen footage of cartel violence, gang shootings, terrorist attacks, child trafficking, or even a Rambo movie? This is what happens when you live in a privileged bubble where the worst thing that you can imagine is law enforcement doing their job. In my opinion, these people have no concept of real violence, real trauma, or real danger.
The fact that the federal government is coming after our daycare workers?
No. The federal government is enforcing immigration law against people who broke it. But these privileged liberals can't tell the difference between law enforcement and prosecution because they never experienced real oppression. Let me tell you who the real victims are in this story, because it's not illegal aliens who got arrested. It's not the traumatized white liberals holding candlelight vigils. The real victims are American citizens who follow the law, pay their taxes, and expect their government to enforce immigration policy. The real victims are legal immigrants who went through the proper process and are watching criminals get sympathy for breaking the rules that they followed.
Nobody's being harmed here. The only people being harmed here is the community, our neighborhood.
This parent says nobody's being harmed here. But what about the harm of the rule of law? What about the harm to legal immigrants who are undercut by people who cheat the system? What about the harm to American workers who compete with illegal labor? These privileged liberals only care about harm when it affects people they've decided to sympathize with. They don't care about the broader harm that illegal immigration causes to American communities.
Hands off Chicago! Hands off Chicago!
A large crowd formed this evening in Chicago's North Center neighborhood over an immigration raid at a daycare.
We had masked ICE agents following a daycare educator into the daycare, where there were parents, there were children.
How is she an
Look at this
educator?
community rallying around somebody.
How
broke
did she get a
multiple
license?
laws. They're treating
not
her like
an
she's
American.
Rosa
She's an
Parks
illegal.
instead of somebody who fled from police
You
and
need a
endangered
license
children. The moral confusion
to
is
work.
absolutely staggering here. Here's what these parents should be asking themselves. If this daycare was employing somebody who was in the country illegally, what other corners are they cutting? What other laws are they ignoring? Maybe it's time to find a school that actually follows law and properly vets their employees. But instead of taking responsibility for their poor choices in childcare, they're blaming ICE for doing their job. They're more upset about law enforcement than they are about the fact that they trusted their children to somebody who was breaking federal law. This is the backwards thinking that is destroying our country. We have people who are more concerned about protecting criminals than protecting their own children. They're holding candlelight vigils for lawbreakers while demonizing the agents who keep our communities safe. America, this story perfectly exposes the privilege and moral confusion of liberals
I
who
don't
have
know
never
how these
experienced
people,
real
these
trauma
aliens,
or
they
real
have to be
danger.
aliens.
If watching
If you're a
somebody get
Democrat, you have to
arrested
be an
for
alien.
breaking the law is the most
I
traumatic
I'm an
thing you've
alien
ever
too,
seen,
but
you've
not
lived an
an alien.
incredibly sheltered life. These people are holding candlelight vigils for a criminal who fled from police and used their children's school as a hideout. They're calling law enforcement officers the bad guys while defending someone who broke multiple laws and endangered kids. The woman who got arrested wasn't an innocent victim. She was an illegal alien who fled from a traffic stop and barricaded herself in a daycare. She lied about her identity when she got caught and claimed she didn't know the person driving her own car. But these privileged parents are so disconnected from reality that they think she's a hero and ICE agents are terrorists. They live in such a bubble that they can't distinguish between law enforcement and oppression. Just maybe, instead of holding candlelight vigils for criminals, these parents should be asking why their daycare was employing someone who was in the country illegally. Maybe they should be grateful that law enforcement removed somebody for breaking federal law from their child's school. But that would require them to live in the real world instead of their privileged fantasy where criminals are always victims and law enforcement is always wrong. Let me know what you think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.
Thank you, Tyson DeLacruz, for another beautiful upload. It was one hell of a show. It was a good show. I had a good time. It was fun. I like doing Thursdays. Thursdays is a really cool day. And I'm pretty much done. I'm tired. It's already 10:55, so it's already time to get ready to go to bed. But I want to say thank you to Tyson DeLacruz for coming through today. It was a great show. Like I said, I always enjoy his company and his mind and having my mind with his mind and just processing everything together with the minds of those in the chat. It makes it rewarding. Not many people watch, but that's great, because this is something for us to cherish, the quietness. We got to cherish it while we have it, because it may not be like that for long. But I hope you guys have a good morning, good afternoon, and a good night. And I'll definitely catch y'all on the flip side. And I'll be back on tomorrow, same time, same place, 7:30 Eastern time on the PM. And thank you for watching. Truly appreciate the ones who are rewatch. You guys are awesome. I really, 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 really do appreciate it. And I think this show came out pretty cool. And if you like it, let me know. If not, I'll put a spell on you. No, I'm playing. Have a good night, everyone. Peace.